Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ring Down Below, an actual play series using the Blades in the Dark system, written by John Harper and published by Evil Hat Productions. I'm Eli Kurtz, your game master, as always, and we are about to jump into this thing, but I wanted to say first, 2 weeks ago we should have posted an episode, and we didn't. Long story short, my computer messed it up. We lost it, but we did have an adventure, so we're going to kind of summarize that at the beginning of this thing so that you all are up to speed. But first, let's do some player introductions. So let's start off with Derek.
I am Derek. I'm playing Clink, the mechanic, who is unstable and is paranoid, and things are coming to a head near the end of this game, and it's getting exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. I'm a small part of the Mythic Gazetteer, and I don't have any YouTube channel, but you'll see me on some live plays on Eli's channel and on some on Jeremy's. So looking forward to tonight.
Likewise. Next, let's do Baron.
What's up, everybody? I'm Baron. I run the YouTube channel RWD Gaming, where I do mostly D&D live plays, but I dabble here and there with some other stuff. Most recently, and as of the 6th of March, which is tomorrow for us right now, I will be hosting another game of Philip Maddie's Treasure Quest system. So if you're interested in finding out about that, come check us out. I'm reprising Ezel, who is half like ninja, half socialite. So it's an interesting combination, to say the least. And I guess I'll say it now, I traumatized out in the last game, so I'm a little bit more broken, which is kind of the way of life here, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, we're into broken people. We're all busted around here. By the way, what is your new trauma?
I am unstable.
Unstable. All right. Well, we'll see how that plays out, I suppose. And then last but not least, Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy. I have the YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions. I do live plays as well. It's talking about crafting and just talking about RPGs in general. So, yeah, go check me out. I'm also 1/3 of the Dudes of Yore podcast, which can also be found on YouTube. I do that with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. So, yeah, I'm stepping back into the shoes of Benji Overstreet. He's a man on borrowed time, I think. But he's been a lot of fun to kind of see, to play as he's spiraled the drain. And I'm excited to kind of see how and when he's actually going to go out and what that's going to look like. So,
yeah, we will see.
Indeed.
Maybe even this session. I feel like every session could be Benji's last, and that's been terribly exciting.
It's true.
For me. It's very good. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started with this, but before we do that, as Derek mentioned, we are part of the Mythic Gazetteer, and the Mythic Gazetteer is a member of the Indie Game Developer Network. Most of the time, for the past few episodes, I have been spotlighting various IGDN members and their products, but this time I want to do something a little different. The leadership team basically inherited like a desperate, limited kind of situation whenever they came into the leadership. I don't think they realized how much the previous leadership had kind of let things go slack, particularly in regards to some very important things regarding safety and harassment and abuse. And so they've inherited quite a bit, but they're working through it like champs, and I just want to give a shout out to them and say thank you for all the work you're doing so far. So to President Kate Bullock, Treasurer Rich Rinaldo, Secretary Craig Campbell, Membership Coordinator Jonathan Lavalle, Convention Coordinator Pete Petrucia, Marketing Coordinator Luca Carroll, Retail Coordinator Tim Rodriguez, and Diversity Coordinator Camden Wright, thank you very much for the work you're doing so far. I am happy to be a part of an organization under your leadership. So, with that out of the way, and no more ado, let's get started on this thing. Welcome, listeners. KMGX and its affiliated stations are proud to present Gazetteer Radio's program, Ring Down Below, a tale of labor and struggle from the pitch-dark canals of Duskfall. Since our last score, the crew of the Eek attended one of Mix Adelaide Freud's lavish parties as a cover to advance their own agendas. We go now to the crew's lair, where they attempt to remember the evening in the midst of dour hangovers. So, as usual, we are floating above the void sea, far out and beyond all light. We can see the black sea below us. We can see the cracked sky above. And we can feel this time, in a sense that we haven't before, something immense rising up from the depths. We can feel it almost inexorably getting closer, slowly but surely. And we move away from this feeling as quickly as possible, and we rocket across the surface of the void sea, and eventually we can see the lightning wall of Duskval ahead of us, and we move through it, and we go through the North Hook Channel Bay, and we don't go to the docks as we often do. Instead, we veer to the right, and we go to Silk Shore. We find ourselves in the abandoned warehouse space that the crew of the Electric Eek has made their home these past several months. And like I said, the previous night was a lavish party at Adelaide Froig's. And unfortunately, everyone is really hungover. And the night is only coming through in flashes and spots. So what I want to do is I want to see the image of everybody and how they wake up with this hangover. And I want to also hear from everybody one detail that they remember about the night before. So let's start with Clank. Clank, what does it look like when you wake up with a hangover? What is it like when Clank is just having a really rough time? And the question I want to know about the previous session is, what opportunities did you all create at the Isles Paradise gambling hall?
Man, Clink's gonna have a hard time remembering because Derek does. So I would say though, Clink's asleep, nursing his hangover, and there's a loud noise. Maybe one of his mini booby traps unexpectedly sprung, and there's a loud noise, and Clink just shoots up out of whatever hammock or whatever he was in, and he can't see that well, and he just yells, "Eckard, you bescumbering soot!" and just yells like that, and starts fighting with anyone who's around him, because he can't see that well, because everyone wouldn't know this, because it wasn't shown, but Clink had some troubles the last session, got into a fight at Mix Froig's party with the corpse, what's he called? A corpse thief named Eckard, who they had kind of run into at the gambling hall prior to the party, who had won. Eckard had won enough that he bought his way into the party, but he wasn't a good fella. He was unwelcome, and he almost got into a fight with Benji, I believe, and Clank had to come help Benji, and then Eckard stabbed Clank.
There was quite a lot that went on, but I think at the end, Eckard ended up being carted away by the police.
Yeah, because Clank got to use some of his cool new gadgets.
That's right.
And so Clank won that fight, but he still ended up bleeding, and he was a little blinded by his own malfunctioning lightning bulb, unfortunately.
Very true. And then the night kind of deteriorated from there. But what did you do at the Isles Paradise gambling hall? I know that you raised some money.
Oh, that's right. So Clank raised some money for the party by bringing in his own feathered crab fighter, and betting on, of course, his own feathered crab for the large pot for the night.
Very good, very good. And so we see Clank kind of rumble into wakefulness, and I imagine there's like a mannequin or a dress form or something that's been set up to test various gadgets on, and you just stumble over and start punching that, wrestling with it on the ground or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Very good. Benji, what does it look like when Benji wakes up from his hangover? And what I want to know from you is, what decadence was on display at Mix Froig's Manor?
So I think Benji wakes up kind of at the dock portion of this hangout, kind of where they've got the eek parked in the water, and he's just kind of face down on the dock portion that runs alongside the eek, and he just kind of rolls over so that his face is kind of hanging over the edge, and just upchucks
Everywhere.
yeah.
As if the water wasn't rancid already.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Better out than in. And he recalls from the night before some of the decadence that was at the party. There was a knife thrower that was practicing his skill. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. There was the hot tub in the ceiling inside the chandelier.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and eventually you all went up there, but we'll tease that out in just a second because
Sure.
Izel.
I remember. I was going to say. I remember another the decadence is that people were being moved around by the servants.
Oh,
That's right.
on dollies. That's right.
Little
Yeah.
Hand cart segways.
Nobody had to walk.
Goodness gracious.
Very good. And Izel, so I think we've established that you don't often spend the night here. You've got your own home elsewhere that you will like sleep in, but nonetheless you wake up here. Maybe there was an after party after Mixed Froigs and it ended up here at the crew of the Eek's lair. What does it look like when you're waking up this morning?
I have actually made it all the way downstairs. I'm in the Eek, like in the driver's seat, passed out. There's a lot of puke like on the dock, but I didn't get any in the boat. And like I think that's my first thought is like looking around, like it's not on me, but I can smell it. It's disgusting. It's like I'm kind of shaken. For my night was kind of bad. I remember initiating our plan to separate Dumas from Rosalind, and that part went well. And then me and Dumont talked for a while, and that didn't go so well.
That's right, yeah, because your rival Rosalind Kellis showed up with your lover, Darmo, on her arm, and and you knew that Rosalind was showing up because you wanted to con her, but you weren't quite expecting the Darmo angle.
Yeah, that kind of sucked, but it got worse, and then I tried to kiss him, and that didn't really go so well. And so I got really, really drunk. And it's kind of a blur after that. I remember I think I drugged Rosalind to make her a little bit more susceptible to Benji's advances. And then I unlocked a door, and I passed out.
That's right, yeah. You took them all. Everybody went to the hot tub room to try and drug Rosalind and then bribe her to move her pawns around over at the Ministry of Preservation and loosen
where I
up
recall, everyone got naked except for her.
yeah. She was like, no, I'm not going to do that. It was a power play, and you know what it turned out. But she was successfully drugged, and you did manage to convince her to open up or to relax the sanctions on illegal canal racing, which means that you can actually afford to do some canal racing now. That's a pretty big win for a crew of canal racers like that. And then, if everyone remembers, afterward, you realize that you were being pursued by some sort of like strange force, this demonic looking thing.
The thingy, yep.
Yeah, the like crustacean jellyfish thing that had followed Izel around earlier had showed up again, but it had sort of morphed into a new form. And you had to contract the services of Melista, one of Clank's old girlfriends, to banish it. However, that being said, things were actually pretty nice for you the next morning, because even though you've got these massive hangovers, you all kind of gather together around the new table to break bread together. And you're feeling around in your pockets, and you realize the patrons at the party, the decadent nobles who were getting all kinds of wasted, they gave you all a bunch of money for reasons that you don't understand. So each of you get to add +4 coin to your stash. And this is because your crew playbook advanced at the end of last session. What that also means is that the next few days are really promising for you. So because your crew playbook advanced, you have 2 options. You can either add a new special ability, or you can check 2 boxes on your upgrades. So let's take a look at the crew playbook here and see what kind of stuff you might want to add to your situation. So far, you've got 2 special abilities, Patron and No Traces. So far, you've got quite a few upgrade boxes checked. Does anybody have any immediate ideas? Like as you're talking about breakfast and you're looking at all this new money that you've got, what sort of things are you discussing that you might want to expand on your criminal enterprise here?
What is an action rating?
An action rating is like one of your actions.
Is that like your
prowl
stat?
or hunt or study or whatever. And your action rating is how many dots you have in it.
So right here at the top, everyone steals. Each PC may add an action rating to prowl.
I'm already over. I have 3 or more in those already.
Gotcha.
I think at the very beginning of this game, you had selected Ghost Echoes, and it turned out that there really wasn't much opportunity at the time to include supernatural stuff, but we're pointed more and more in that direction. So that might be something you consider if you're looking at a special ability.
That could be cool.
Slippery for our entanglements at the end.
Yeah, that could be really helpful now that we're starting to get over our head with a lot of stuff. Synchronized is pretty handy as well. I've used that in different games, and it's really handy.
I don't know any of the other playbook stuff, so
I
Yeah.
think Slippery would work pretty well. Pack Rats also looks like it could be interesting, but
Mhm.
we don't really
Yeah,
steal.
acquire.
We don't steal things. We steal concepts of
Mhm.
cash.
yeah, I like the idea of Slippery.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, then the conversation around breakfast is revolving around this new asset that you've acquired that allows you to have a favorable situation whenever it comes time to rolling entanglements. So what is this new asset? Is it like new skills that you've picked up? Is it a new contact that you've made? What's it look like?
I think it might be like the new contact, and it's kind of a weird way to do this because we don't really like her, but we sort of tied ourselves to
To Rosalind.
Rosalind
Yeah.
to get these canal races going again. So that would make sense that when we're trying to reduce heat, hey, we have an in with this person.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that would be really fraught too because she's still a rival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with that then. So you're talking about how you are now in bed with Rosalind, so to speak. But there are some maybe fringe benefits to that as well. You're frenemies with benefits.
Don't tell Stasia.
She's just like an ugly person, though.
Yeah.
She could be pretty in the face, but she's just not nice.
I've got a clue for you. None of us are nice people.
That's not wholly true. You are nice to me.
Benji is about as far from a nice guy as you can get.
Okay, well, I'm not saying you're nice, but you're not mean to me.
Fair enough.
Respect it.
Clank tries to be nice, but now he's trying to be like Benji.
Very nice.
Clang's gonna be mean now too. Great.
So this is the tenor of the conversation, but you've also got agendas that you might want to pursue here. So what sort of ideas do you all have about, you know, how you're going to advance your own agendas?
I would like. Derek, do you have something?
Well, I would say Clank's agenda is he wants to help the Dockers in their negotiations with the Ministry, and so he somehow wants to parlay their success and fame, their clandestine fame. I don't know how that would work, but into some sort of position where he can force a hand in favor of the Dockers.
Okay, yeah. So you're looking for some angle where you can help out the Dockers in their wage negotiations, or generally, or what?
In their wage negotiations and in their ability to get their own ship.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, well, you know that you have contacts in the Dockers that you could call upon. You know that one of those is Jonathan Black himself. There are a few options here, I think.
I guess Tuto doesn't have that much sway.
You know what? He doesn't.
I think Benji wants to figure out this dream that he had, that he continues to have, with LaRose being this demon, this twisted demon that they had tortured.
Yeah, for sure. I think you are. How many segments do we have on that clock right now? I think you're at 5 out of 8.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the sort of thing that we could investigate here. If you want to do it outside of downtime, you just have to spend coin to pursue that, and that would go for both of you, helping the negotiation and doing this here dream investigation.
Sure.
How?
Clank's pockets are empty, so.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, you spent a lot of coin last time on advancement stuff.
I flushed. I have 6 coin in my stash because we got 4.
Yeah.
But
You've also got coin in your crew playbook. I think you have 3 that you could use from your crew playbook. As you guys are deliberating, there's a knock on the door, and it's like, you can tell it's not a knock like, hey, come over here and open it up. It's the secret knock that disarms the trap that's on the door. And so you know that somebody you know is about to show up. And
Wait,
then,
the old trap or the new trap?
oh, there's a new trap. Oh, no.
Always a new trap.
Yeah, okay. So then what sound do we hear around the corner as the door is opened?
I think we hear kind of the swish of some spikes coming out of the floor right underneath where someone's going to step.
Okay. So you hear this swing, and then you hear, whoa, whoa, whoa! And then this thunderous clash on the ground. And a few minutes go by, or a few seconds go by. And then Tuto stumbles into the little room where this table is set up. He's like, oh, it's a good thing I've only got 2 toes. There's some spikes on your doorstep.
Shh.
Oh. Are-
Use your inside voice, please, Tuto.
Well, I'm inside, and this is my voice.
It's
so
very, very loud.
It's very... I can be quiet.
Clink
this
rushes by him and slams the door, turns around and says, "Were you followed?"
followed? Well, no.
How do you know?
Uh, I don't.
They're on to us.
There. Who is?
I don't know. Everyone. Eckard? That was Scummer and Soot.
Clank, please. I can't do this right now.
It's too early.
Eckard. I don't know an Eckard.
You're lucky, Tuto. You're lucky.
Tuto nods in earnest agreement, and then he says, "Well, I came over to see if you'd heard the news."
No. What news?
It's Salya and Spall. They've been putting up flyers all morning, but only in the secret spots, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
What do you know about my secret spots, Tuto?
So, they're not yours. They're everybody's.
Everyone knows about my secret spots? And he goes back to his bedroom. Here we go.
So Tuto watches this happen and is just kind of really confused. And he looks over at Benji, and he realizes that Benji's not really in the mood. And so he goes over to Izel, and he's like, "I don't know if you're a racer, but you might like this." And he hands you a little flyer. And emblazoned on the flyer, in words and no images, it just says, Spiritwell Special. New canal race. 4 days' time. Be there or drown in the dusk.
Benji, I think whatever you said to Rosalind the other day, last night, may have worked. And I'll hand him the flyer.
He kind of looks at it and then has to like hold it at like arm's length. And he like blinks and opens his eyes real wide a couple of times. Oh, a race. That's good. I'll be right back. And he kind of gets up and very quickly leaves the room.
Clink comes back in, like obviously like zipping up his fly again, muttering, "There was no evidence of someone was in my secret spot."
Oh my god.
And finds Izel holding the fluttering part the paper that Benji, I guess, had dropped in his rush out, and says, "What's that?"
Here, Clank. You might enjoy this just as well.
No, why don't you tell me what it is?
A canal race, Clank.
A canal race?
Wait, can Clank read?
Who knows?
Have we ever seen Clank read?
Clank, can you read? New clock. Decipher if Clank can read.
I want to spend all my stash on this project.
Clank, can you read?
I can read. Get out of here.
What does it say?
Cannel
Okay.
Ross.
Okay. What does that mean?
There's a can of Ross.
Close. Very close. Canal race. Clank.
Well, that's
About-
good. We do that.
Yes. Yes, truly.
I've been
Anyway.
practicing.
Yeah, of course. What? How do you practice canal racing? If I may ask.
Well, I sit there in the tub and I hold my hands like this, like I'm holding a steering wheel, and I close my eyes and I can see what's in like the canals, and I turn my hand that way when I know there's going to be a turn, and then I turn it that way when I know there's going to be another turn.
Clank, is that why the bathtub's broken?
Well, it never worked right in the first place.
Well, there's never mind.
Tuto looks at Ezel and he's like, "It's got to be true though, because they win races all the time."
Is there any like insignia or copyright or like image on this document saying who it's from or distributed by?
Yeah, so you can see Salya and Spall's like secret coded symbol near the bottom of the page to identify that it's their doing. But then you see another symbol that you're not quite sure what it means. It is. It kind of looks like two lines that aren't parallel; they're receding, almost like to a vanishing point or something. And then there's like it looks kind of like a letter C, but it's sideways, so it's like this kind of shape, right? And then it is covering up these sort of vanishing lines that are behind it.
Clank, have you ever seen this symbol before?
Which one?
This one here.
That's an A.
Tuto's like, it kind of looks like an A, but the cross part's really high. I'm not sure.
Would Clink know what it is?
I don't know that you would know off the top of your head. Just because it is like a coded symbol, but if you were to do some gather information, you could find out.
Clink would rather think it's an A.
And what about Benji? Is Benji still out hurling in the hallway?
Yeah, Benji comes back in, kind of dabbing at the corners of his mouth. Excuse me. Sorry. What's all this canal race? We're racing again?
Yeah, 4 days. I don't know what happened, but I hear some sanctions got lifted.
She moves fast, your friend. And he kind of looks at Ezel.
You talking about Imbra?
No.
You know, Imbra, one eye from the docks.
Oh yes, I've met with her before. She's kind of a prickly woman.
Well, I guess. Gotta be prickly when you're fighting for your rights, though. That's what she tells me.
Fair enough.
She was a smart woman.
What about her? What does she have to do with all this?
Well, that's the woman, you know, right?
No, the one who lifted the sanctions was a friend of Izel's.
Oh.
Well, friend is putting it mildly.
You got a friend, Ezel?
No. We all know better than that. I don't have any friends.
Well, that can't be true, because you're hanging out with these weirdos.
It's
Clink
sort of,
hands Tuto a sandwich when he says that.
it's sort of like babysitting to them. Make sure they don't play in the road and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because playing in the road's really fun. Gotta watch out for the dire goats, though, and their poop.
This actually explains quite a bit, Tuto. So what you mentioned Imbra like she had something to do with this flyer, though, Tuto. Is that where you got this?
No, I was just guessing that's who you were talking about, but I think it was a bad guess.
There's no bad guesses, and he kind of like pats him on the knee, like you're okay.
Tuto takes the sandwich and puts half of it in his mouth, and he's like, "I could tell you about bad guesses. Once upon a time," and then everything else after that is illegible.
Everything after that is illegible.
Yeah, he's really into the chewing at that point. And the food's broken down too much. You know, we could really get into the details of this, but I don't think we need to. So he's eating his sandwich, and then he swallows and he says, "Hey, Clank, I just realized This is the last sandwich you're supposed to make for me.
It is.
4 months of sandwiches come and gone. I'm gonna miss them.
I'm never sweeping for you again.
Well, what if I get sick?
Well, then you gotta make me a sandwich.
So if I make you a sandwich, you'll sweep for me.
If you get sick.
So if I get sick and I make you a sandwich, then you'll sweep for me.
Benji, does that sound right?
Yes, as long as you don't sweep as him. I think that was where the problem came from.
Sweep as him.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. You can't be me. 'Cause I'm
Well, how
me.
could I be you? I'm me.
Well, that's the problem. You tried to be me once. Everybody says you're jealous.
I've got more than 2 toes. I have no reason to be jealous of you.
You've never tried having 2 toes before. It's pretty nice. Anyway, if this is my last sandwich, I'm gonna savor it. And he puts it in his coveralls pocket on his chest. And he shuts it and he's like, "All right, well, I gave you the letter, and talking about all this sweeping reminds me I gotta go do some sweeping. So I guess I'll see you around."
M-O-O-N. That's spells move.
Incredible.
He turns around to leave, and he gets to the door, and then he stops, and he realizes the spikes are there. And he turns back around, and he winks really big. And then he goes, "Solidarity forever." And then he walks out.
Clegg turns to the others and says, I like him.
You do have a lot in common, Clank.
Okay, so you guys, as the morning continues, you guys are kind of taking stock of what's going on in your lives, and you realize a few things. You realize that, Benji, you have made some solid progress on this dream. You have narrowed down your leads, and you're coming into the home stretch on this thing, but there's still some work to do. You also know that it's been a little while since you've checked in on the Bluecoats, and you don't know how close they are to figuring out the truth behind LaRose's murder. You know that the Dockers are trying really hard to get their stuff together and actually be successful in their negotiations for wages and all that. You know that Addie is not going to be throwing another party for a little while. Their resources are depleted. You know that the Leviathan hunters have got together quite a few resources to go out on a hunting voyage, but they're not quite there yet. And you know that the Ministry of Preservation is pretty well stalled in their push to defeat the Dockers' wage negotiations. So, what kind of things do you want to do in these next 4 days to maybe like find some opportunity you can exploit during the race, or pursue your own agendas, or what have you?
So Benji wants to check up on the Bluecoats for sure.
Okay.
He's had a couple of interactions with some of them, and in particular with Darmo. And anytime in Benji's experience, anytime that you start having interactions with the same officer repeatedly, it's usually a bad thing. It usually means that they've opened a case on you. So he wants to see if that's what's going on.
Okay, so you want to find out if the Bluecoats are like tailing you or onto you in your activities or anything like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And what action are you going to use to try and figure this stuff out?
I think probably consort.
Okay.
I've been working and honing that for a while, and I think Benji has opened a very wide network of informants and information brokers. So I think he's going to pull on that.
Okay, sure. I mean, at this point, you might even have a lot of contacts within the Bluecoats,
Maybe.
or at least a few. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll that die and see how that turns out.
Okay, and this is gather information, so position and effect
Don't matter. Right.
I think I have something about gathering information.
You do. When it's related to a score, you get some sort of bonus. I don't remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, when it's the target for a score. So I guess this doesn't necessarily, well, I guess it depends on what we end up doing as our score, but so I don't know if that would apply in this situation or not.
I mean, it kind of depends. It kind of depends. You know, if you all want to make this next score have something to do with the heat that has been building up between you and the Bluecoats, then that would be fine.
Yeah, nah.
Okay. Oh, wow. You were rolling 4 dice for that thing?
Yeah, I have 4 in consort.
That's amazing. Well, you got a 6, so you get the answer plus some extra stuff, right? So you work over some of your Bluecoat contacts and people who are close to the Bluecoats, and you're asking about Darmo and trying to figure out if there's any connection between Darmo and, you know, this investigation that's going into LaRose's murder. And you find out, no, Darmo specifically isn't connected. It seems like you've been running into him because he's connected to Izel somehow. But you do also find out that they have just recently uncovered a pretty major lead. They found, I believe it was the prostitute from the brothel saw your face. And this is, you know, weeks after the fact, so the memory is fuzzy, but they are talking to the prostitute and making a crime sketch to try and identify you. And so, you know, I mean, it's not necessarily like 2 sections of the clock are going to tick at the end of this session if you don't address it, but one will, for sure. They'll be getting that much closer.
Jeremy, if you'd like, Clink can help Benji change the look of his face.
No, I'm okay with that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Benji's been practicing a little bit of that on his own anyway. Cool. So, Clank, did you want to do some gather information to check in on the Dockers, or did you maybe just want to do a downtime action to help them with their project?
I guess a downtime action, if people are okay with me using a crew coin. Actually, you know what? I'll use Clink. Clink lives further now. He'll use Stash.
Whew, okay.
So I will use 2 Stash to get 1 coin, correct?
Yes.
What I want to do is I want to. The union's pretty solid and they work together, but there's scabs, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's people still going to work. So I want to raise the profile of the union to make them more popular with these others to make them want to join the union.
Okay.
And to do that, I want to like promote the Eek to say, hey, the Dockers like the Eek likes the Dockers. You should all join the Dockers.
For sure. So you're
the local 543.
You're using a little more honey than vinegar then.
Yes.
Cool. I like that a lot. And what action did you say you were going to use for it? Did you declare one yet?
I have not declared an action yet. I don't know what I should do necessarily.
If you're trying to like win people over through logic or charm, then sway makes a lot of sense to me.
How about consort with my background and friends and...
Sure. I mean, you've got enough connections among the Dockers that makes sense to me.
Yeah, whereas Jeremy rolled 3 die, I'm rolling 1. So let's see how this goes.
Hopefully fine, right? Hopefully just fine.
A 2.
Not great, but you do fill one more segment on that clock. So let's see here. You are basically doing like a morale boosting sort of thing for the group here. And they go from 4 segments of an 8-segment clock to 5 segments of an 8-segment clock. So you managed to talk to a few of them, and they're like, oh, yeah, Races, canal races. Well, I heard those are illegal. I heard they're cracking down.
Not in 4 days.
4 days? What happens in 4 days?
Well, you didn't hear it from me. But there's
No.
going to be a race.
Oh, a race. Wow, well, let me tell you, I'd take off work for that. I wouldn't even tell old boss Helker about it. I just wouldn't show up.
Well, that's good. Come join us, and while you're there, you can learn about the 543.
Yeah. Sounds like I should be giving them a fair shake if they're getting behind these scofflaw activities like that.
Mm-hmm. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your boys.
Yeah, I got lots of boys. I got 12 of them. Well, only 10 now. Anyway, I'll bring them all.
What happened to him?
What? Oh, they're just not mine anymore. They hate me, so they left. I don't like to talk much about it.
What have you heard?
About.
Who are you? I'm gonna go now.
Okay, well, I guess I'll maybe see you at the races.
Who told you about those?
Huh. Nice one. Claps you on the back and sends you on your way. All right, so you've managed to help out the Dockers just a little bit, and
By
it
getting
seems
one
be-
person to show up. All right.
Nah, he'll talk to his friends and everything. And there were a few other people there too who are kind of mumbling in agreement. Okay, so we know that there's this race coming up in a few days. We know that the Bluecoats are kind of edging closer toward concluding their investigation. Izel, is there anything in particular that you're doing over these next few days?
I'm trying to open up some of my dad's old contacts within the city so I can be more involved in getting him back.
Very good. Okay. Cool. So you're thinking like you are going to acquire an asset with the downtime activity, or are you thinking you're going to like gather information? What do you feel like?
I'm going to try and acquire an asset.
Okay. So to do that, you do have to spend coin.
Okay.
But you can use crew coin if everybody's okay with it.
Do you guys mind? How much coin do we have left?
I think you have 3.
Yeah, I'll take one of those if you guys don't care.
Cool. And so you're going to acquire an asset of like what? A spy network or something?
That's probably the best way to describe it. I'm just trying to open up communication between me and my dad, even though he's in a different country.
Okay, so you're maybe looking for inspectors or something then. Investigators, something. Private eyes.
Less that route, more like someone who is in communication with him. Someone that would have like taken over his e-cigarette business afterward, or like dispersal of the clientele. Someone who is still in contact with him. I'm trying to get in contact with that person.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so let's see here. And I just want to be clear about, what the end goal is. You want to be able to call upon this person in the future for a favor, or you want to just like get a message to your dad, or what do you think?
I want to try and make it so Valeris can come back. 'Cause it was kind of like something we pushed into the narrative in the beginning, that he had fled because he's being persecuted by the Bluecoats in connection to what we were doing.
Yeah.
I feel like personally that is something that Ezel would be trying to remedy now, is to bring her father back to Duskfall.
Okay. So you are I almost picture this as a long-term project then, instead of like an acquire asset situation.
Okay.
It's still one
That
coin for a downtime activity. It's just a different context here. So let me add another clock to the list. We got a bunch of clocks. I'm going to call this a 6 o'clock probably. And let's see, make it nice and big so we can see it. We've got this going on. And what else do we need? We need a label. That's what we need.
So yeah, that's kind of in the forethought of Ezel's mind. Dockers are, go Dockers, but that's not super huge for me at the moment.
Right. You haven't found a really good reason to care yet. Not more than you care about your dad, anyway. Okay, so let's do this then. We've got some text. Patrick Hand. And what's a good title for this stuff here? Are we thinking like Valeris can come home?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Cool. All right. So then, switch back to my little clicker here. All right. So what action are you using then to sort of plant the, or like, seed the soil for him to come back? You're muted if you're talking.
Oh, I sure was. I'm gonna prowl and just kind of do my own investigation of the people I would imagine or know are in contact with my dad, just to see which of them I would trust and the things that they are up to before laying any groundwork with anybody.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so go ahead and give me that roll then. Oh, wow. That is a critical, which means you fill 4 segments of this clock. Pretty sure that's the way that works. Let me just double check because that's a bunch of segments.
So, what do you guys know about stealth?
No, you fill 5 segments of that clock.
So
So right out the gate, you find some wildly helpful information that like basically clears your dad's name. What is this thing that you found?
Okay. So there is one of the dealers of electroplasmic cigarettes that was like the rat who had kind of turned on Valeris to make him like, okay, I need to leave before this stuff gets bad. I have irrefutable proof that he is getting his stuff from another gang, because I don't think that's really up to me. But so irrefutable proof that my dad was definitely not distributing to this guy.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the real problem then is something that your dad was never actually involved with.
Yeah.
Cool.
This was kind of like a sandbag kind of thing.
I like it. So what I think you should do is look through. There's a list of vice purveyors somewhere in the book, and take a look at that and see if anybody sticks out for like a druggy kind of vice. Yeah, there should be a few different options. It's just a matter of finding a name that we can attach, but we don't have to do that right now. Okay. So we know that this race is coming up, and we know that you guys want to do some racing, but you're becoming hot shit. I think we're kind of past the point where simple races are okay. There has to be some ulterior motive that you've got, or some like alternate plan that you're enacting through the course of this thing. So do you guys have any ideas about agendas that you want to advance using the race as cover?
I have an idea. So this is going to be Clank's race.
Oh.
Ooh.
Benji is going to not. He is going to be in the boat, but actually he's not going to be in the boat. He has a lady of the night that he has to kill.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay. Yeah, so you have to track down this prostitute so she can't give her testimony.
Yeah, again with the like the Fox alias kind of thing, how he's developing that dual persona, the
I totally want to help with that. I want to
twisted
help.
Batman. Oh hell yeah!
Okay.
Okay, so I have an idea here. So Benji starts the race. We get to a point where Benji jumps off
Yes.
and Clank takes over in disguise.
Dressed as Benji.
And then at the end of the race, you have to be back in time to like take the
Let's
winner's
Do it.
wreath or something.
That's very
Legend.
good. So you see, the Spirit Well special happens to be taking place in Silkshore, so that's perfect. There's plenty of room for that sort of thing to happen. All right, so we know what we want to do. Is there any information that you want to gather about, fellow racers or like whereabouts or anything like that? Anything that you want to do to prepare for this, or should we just jump right into an engagement roll?
I want to find out about what we can about the course, like where it's going, and the terrain and the canals that it's going through.
Sure. Okay, that sounds good.
Like, so if we like know the course, then I would like to prowl and like figure out the best way to go through things and different traps or whatnot we could set up.
Sure. Well, I think so. In order to find out the course, you're going to need to talk to the organizers, and you go to Salia and Spall first because that makes sense. But Salia and Spall are really just the financiers and the gambling house connected to the race. They don't do anything to set the course, but they're close enough to you that they just tell you straight out that the other group, the one that's actually conducting the race, are the gondoliers. And everybody knows the gondoliers at least a little bit. Basically, they are one of the major forms of transportation in the city. You've got cabbies that take people around the cities in wagons and that are pulled by dire goats. But you also have gondoliers who have been taking their water boats on the canals for centuries, right? And they're also kind of known as folk heroes because a lot of people drown people in the river, or they dispose of bodies in the river, or whatever. And so there are a lot of ghosts and demons that are attracted to the waters in Duskfall. And the gondoliers have always been very good at knowing the techniques and the rituals and stuff to cleanse those ghosts of those places. And in fact, the Spirit Well special, the title of the race, is because gondoliers know where all the Spirit Wells are in the city. And Spirit Wells are places where the veil is especially thin and ghosts and things can come through. And so you know that they're organizing it, and you could maybe like prowl into their ranks and try and find information about the route if you want to.
I'll do that. Click will do that.
Cool. All right. So I think this is just a gather information roll, and the question is, what's the route like? What can I expect or something like that?
Okay, so I don't need to spin coin?
You don't, no. But you do need
Okay.
to make a prowl roll without regard for position and effect.
I got to 6.
A 6. Okay, nice. So you find out a little more information than you had hoped. So let's see. You know that the gondoliers are going to be conducting this race, and you know that they are water-based people who are really fearless when it comes to spirits and that sort of thing. So the race is going to start off in Tangletown, which is really interesting. Tangletown is a junkyard settlement that's popped up in the middle of the river. That's just a bunch of half-sunken ships and stuff. And it's famous neutral ground. There is no gang violence allowed on Tangletown. And so when you start off this race, it's strictly a matter of skill. It's all about trying to outmaneuver your opponents. And if you do so much as touch them, that could be grounds for a lot of factions to come down on you with a really heavy hand. Then it goes through Silkshore, and there are a few places where it kind of branches off into a little bit of a maze, so you pick your own adventure through that. But one of the really interesting things is that the final leg of the race goes outside the lightning wall and onto the Void Sea. Most canal skiffs are not rated to go out on the Void Sea like that, and so it's a really dangerous thing, especially considering that all of the ghosts and demons of the ocean are all of a sudden no longer separated from you by a lightning wall. So that's going to be a really dangerous part of the race. And then you circle back, you go back through Silkshore, and you end up in Tangletown again.
Is there a part that, like a shortcut that goes on land at all? Like,
Not in a boat race, no.
you forget our boat is amphibious.
That's true. There may be opportunities for you to go overland for a section. For example, like in the Silkshore maze, there might be a
Right.
spot where that's possible.
So, does my prowling reveal, like, would I be able to find spots where that would be beneficial?
Sure, yeah.
Or- okay.
Yeah, and so I think what that means then is that you just have free license to once or twice get increased effect or something because you've found a shortcut over land.
Okay, great.
Cool. All right, so anybody else have any preparatory stuff they want to do before the score?
Well, I think we need to prepare the Eek for this score.
Okay. In what way?
Yeah.
Something that would protect it from ghosts once you're outside the lightning barrier. Can Clink? I don't know how. Is
So
there a
let's
way we
see.
can build a mini lightning barrier?
Already, the Eek has the hot steam smokescreen device and the airboat fan, which allows it to be amphibious.
And all of Clink's inventions,
Yeah, and what
Attached
inventions do
to
you
the-
have again?
Clink has. I have them all listed. A magnetic line thrower, a stun glove, a lightning bulb, an electroplasmic firework cannon, and a battery.
Well, electroplasm repels ghosts. So maybe you could do a downtime action to like repurpose the firework cannon into more of like a Tesla coil or something like that you can put on the boat and be effective out there on the void sea.
Okay, so I already know how to build my electroplasmic firework cannon. I could build another thing on that, or like another one of those, I guess.
So
which would be for the boat.
Normally you would do an acquire asset roll to like charge up the cannon. And I think what I would say is that how does acquire asset work? Hold on just a second, because that's going to inform what goes on here. Acquire asset, roll the crew's tier. The result indicates the quality of the asset. Okay. So I think it would just be some sort of penalty to make it a little more difficult, because you're not exactly like making another cannon. You're making something that's like your cannon that has a slightly different purpose. So maybe
Heck, I'll just have it shoot off fireworks, like as I'm going through, maybe. So
so you're thinking maybe don't retrofit it at all. Just slap the cannon on the boat and see how it goes.
or just shoot up fireworks as I'm going. If they're electroplasmic, I guess Clink's theory is it will scare the ghosts away.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that could work. And you know what? Because you've got your battery, it's also the situation where you've got two charges or whatever on the thing. So I don't think we even need to roll. You're just going to hook that up on the boat and make it ready to go. That's not something that is particularly challenging or.
Well, unless
Fraught.
I craft another one.
Yeah, that could work. I guess you haven't crafted one in a little while,
Right.
actually. So why don't we do an acquire asset roll to actually get the cannon put together?
Okay. Well, I don't know what I just did to myself there, but okay.
Okay, so what you're going to do is roll the crew's tier. So it's just 2d6. You can roll fortune on your own sheet if you want to.
I don't know. I guess okay. So acquiring an asset for the boat, but then I guess I could still hold one that's mine. I guess.
Well, I don't know that we've necessarily been applying the gadget rules as written so far. I think it's
okay.
kind of been assumed that you've always got one that you can bring along with you. And I don't know that that's the way it actually works. Actually, let me. So tell you what.
Well, I've been putting them like on my items. Like if I end up using it, I have it in my item in my load.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. We're fine. I just have it. It's in my items, or on my load, or it's on the boat.
Okay, hold on, but let me figure this out now because I'm curious. So we're creating crafting. To craft something, spend 1 downtime activity to make a tinker roll to determine the quality level of the item you produce. The base quality level is equal to your crew's tier, modified by the result of the roll.
Right. So I've created one. Before.
No, you have to do acquire asset to craft one. You have the plan, the blueprint or whatever.
Yeah, I have created the cannon from my blueprint.
You rolled in this session to create a cannon?
No. Why do I have to do it each session?
Yeah. Because I mean, you the one that you created last time you've used since then, right?
Right. I didn't know it was a single use thing.
I think that is the case. Let me see here.
Good to know. I've not been treating it that way.
Results are based on your crew's tier, overall quality, minimum quality level, Maybe that's not the case. The thing is, sample gadgets and special plans, flash bomb, ghost scourge, line thrower. Yeah, I guess I'm being too harsh here. I think if it's an actual gadget, you don't have to acquire it every time.
Okay, I think we've been treating it like I can use it once per session.
Yeah, I think that's right. Let's just go ahead and go with that then. So you can use it once, and you've got the battery, so you can use it a second time as well.
Twice. Okay.
Okay. Does that work for you?
Yeah, unless Jeremy, Baron, do you think of anything else you want to do?
I don't think I'll be on the boat. Benji, did you want to find out about this prostitute?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to, try to make sure that, she's, working the night that this is happening, or, maybe getting off of work at the same time, something like that. Find a good opportunity during this to kind of slip away and do what he has to do in his mind.
Makes sense. So you're thinking a gather information roll for that?
I think so.
Cool. And this one actually would apply to your downtime special ability, your gather information thing.
Oh, right. Okay. So... okay, how can I discover an opportune moment to deal with her? Is the question that I'm asking.
Yeah, okay. And what action are you rolling for this?
Where is it? Weaving the web. It's going to be consort.
Consort. Okay, so you're drawing on your contacts and stuff then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. So let's see here. Go ahead and give me that roll. A 5.
5.
God, you roll so many freaking dice with consort.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Isn't that?
It's amazing. Okay.
He's dug in deep.
So here's the deal. When you go out of Tangletown, you're going to go into a section of Silk Shore that is called Laguna. And it comes actually dangerously close to the Silk Shore Bluecoat precinct. But the biggest section of Silk Shore, the Laguna section, is like a little bit more of an artsy area, and the Ease is north of it, and that's mostly where like a lot of the brothels and things like that are located. And so the Silk Shore maze that you're going to be doing will take you through or near the area that you need to go, but you're going to have to get overland. You're going to have to cross this place called Taffeta Road to be able to get over into the area you need to get to. But once you do that, you will be well positioned to ambush this poor prostitute.
And if I remember correctly, we kind of established with the brothel that there was a part of it that led to the big flower where we actually killed LaRose. That actually was at one point a part of the canals,
Yeah,
but it was dry for some reason.
yeah, it's
It
very
blocked
true.
it off or whatever.
Then we flood it.
You did,
we
yeah.
might
No,
have.
you blew a hole in the wall, and
Yep.
yeah, but that was a few months ago. I mean, it's probably been drained and patched at this point. Shoddy workmanship, I'm sure. It wasn't a union job, that's for sure. Okay, so we know all that stuff, and I think we're ready for an entanglement roll, but I want to take a quick bio break first. So let's come back in 5 minutes or so. Actually, it's close enough to 10 o'clock right now. Let's say we come back at 10:05. And so for those of you who are tuning in, why don't you skip ahead a little bit? But keep your eyes peeled because we're on the prowl. All right, everyone, welcome back. So, we are about to engage in yet another thrilling, I'm sure, canal race, but this time with an ulterior motive. So, we need to do engagement, and that means we're going to be rolling some dice. Derek, are you going to be the dice roller as is tradition? Cool. So, first of all, let's pick load, because we always forget to do that, and I appreciate Derek reminding us before we came back from the break. How heavily geared up is everybody going to be going into this?
Clank is going heavy,
All right.
which means that he can have 10 gear.
That's absurd.
I'm going with normal, which means 7.
Not bad.
Yeah, Benji is also going normal.
Very good. All right. Yeah. So you two don't want to compromise your mobility necessarily, but you're going to do the work of some scoundrels. All right. So we've got our load figured out. Whew, let's all just take a collective sigh that we remembered to do it. Now, start with 1 die for sheer luck. Next question. Is this operation particularly... Actually, what is the plan and what is the detail? We need to decide on that. And I have a pretty clear idea in mind, but I'm going to let you guys talk amongst yourselves.
What do you guys want to do? Like, the Benji gets off the boat when everyone thinks he's on the boat?
Yeah, I do.
So what is... I'm always bad at this. Where's the things that talks about plans?
It's on your playbook, and I would suggest
Oh,
that
so
is
it's
the
a
one.
deception.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So then what that means is that all of the stuff that we've already talked about is going to be going on, but a major part of this score will be maintaining the illusion that Benji or someone is still in the boat with Clank. And there will be consequences if you fail to do that. So
So I can have that, like, dress mannequin thing that he mentioned earlier, right?
serendipitous, isn't it? Okay, so start with 1 die for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
Yes, of course.
I mean, I think if it was just trying to kill a prostitute, probably not. But the fact that we're trying to pull it off in the middle of a like highly publicized race, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, bold or daring makes sense to me. So add a die. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? I feel like this is one of the more complex scores that you've been on.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, okay, so take that die away. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? You did do some gather information to figure that stuff out, so I think I'm willing to say that, yeah, that's a die. Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations? I don't think so. So far we're at 2 dice. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
Not me.
Yeah, not any of mine either.
Clank? No? All right.
It doesn't have to be like our ally, right? Just one of our friends.
Yeah, anybody who's on good terms with you.
I've never even dealt with Veldrin the Psychonaut or Jewel the Blood Dealer, so...
Yeah, neither one of those seem like they're really appropriate in this particular circumstance, but that's good to know. We should try and incorporate them sometime in the future. Psychonaut, I'm sure, would be a really chill guy to hang out with. So no dice for friends or contacts. Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? You know what? Sure enough, there will be a rival who interferes. So take -1 die. I think that takes you down to just the 1 die. Now, are there any other elements you want to consider? Tier, location, etc. You guys are coming up in tier, but I don't think you're really to the point where you're above anybody, so I don't think we would add a die for that.
But this is a canal race, and we are good at those.
That's true. And you've also scouted out the route ahead of time, so you know what's in store. I think you can earn a die for that. Benji, I think your special ability gives +1 die on the engagement roll, doesn't it?
I was just looking at that.
Okay.
Yes, the same weaving the web, the one that I used to get information on her, also allows an extra die for the engagement roll for this operation specifically.
Delightful. Okay, so that brings you up to 3 dice, and I think that's about all we're going to be able to wring out of this thing. So let's roll that. 6. All right, cool. So you do not start off having already passed the first obstacle, but you are in a controlled position when the action starts. So, you're friends with Salia and Spall, and you find yourselves in a pretty favorable position on the starting block. You're not at the back of the pack, and there are a lot of people who are cheering for you like a lot of people have taken ferries out to Tangletown to cheer on the racers at the beginning and then welcome them at the end. And you know that there are some people strategically placed throughout the race who are kind of there to cheer people on, etc. too. You do also notice that there are a few racers that you haven't seen before. First, and maybe most surprising, is that Davian Spall himself has decided to race in this one. He has signed some contracts in advance to make sure that he's not going to be benefiting from any wins or losses that might be happening. Of course, the legal soundness of those contracts is in question, but everything is with Salia and Spall. We also have Imbra, one of your fellow Docker folks. She's decided to throw her hat into the ring this once and see, how it goes there. So you've got 2 allies who are in this race with you. That might complicate things a little bit. Not enough that they want to help you, so it didn't give you a benefit in the entanglement, but that's the situation. And last, but certainly not least, a massive man, almost 7 feet tall, almost 4 feet wide. He hails from Scotland. He's always smoldering. It looks like he's just perpetually this volcano ready to erupt. His name is Ulf Ironborn, and you know him as the recently installed new leader of the Grinders. And you know something else. The Grinders have been a lot more bloodthirsty and ruthless since he took control. Whereas before, the Grinders were kind of content to, cause their trouble, but generally play along with the crime of the city. Ulf seems much more bent on chaos and destruction. And these are the forces that you're contending against. Ulf's skiff in particular is this hulking, armored thing. It's even more impressive than Hutton's skiff from the old Grinder days. Imbra is piloting this kind of like piece together thing. It's clearly a show of Docker solidarity building this thing. But Clank, you can tell. I mean, they cut some corners. It's not a prize canal skiff that we're dealing with here. And then Davian Spall, he's actually got a pretty nice rig put together. It's got some gadgets that are clearly hidden away. It looks fast. Who knows how that's going to shake out?
Is Tasho racing?
No. If you remember, Tasho got the old wrangle and shock treatment a little while ago.
Oh,
so her soul is currently separated from her body. And she is imprisoned in the body of a manual labor hull to serve out her punishment.
Clink's still waiting for a sandwich from her.
I feel like you might not like the sandwich that a heavy lifting hull could create, but maybe one day she'll get her body back. However, Salia stands up over the race, and he's standing next to a gondolier, 2 gondoliers actually. There's a man and a woman, one on either side of him. And they've got these, striped black and white shirts. These kind of rakish cravats that are off to the side or whatever. And Salia says, "Okay, it is time to begin the race. Who is ready? Everyone is ready? Yes? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Here we go. And it is time, if you would please, a gondolier." And so one of the gondoliers pulls out a gun and lifts it up into the air. here in Tangletown, that's kind of a sight that makes some people catch their breath. But pretty soon, the shot rockets into the air. All of the engines roar to life, and we find ourselves off and running in this race. So to start off, I think, Benji, you are in the boat, right? Yeah, and Clank is definitely in the boat. Izel, are you in the boat, or are you stationed somewhere up ahead ready to jump into action whenever the time comes?
I have every intention to be watching the prostitute.
Yeah. Okay. So you're scouting ahead, and you're keeping an eye, making sure that the meetup actually happens.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So let's do this then. Clank, why don't you take us out of Tangletown? And remember, you got to play nice right now.
Well, I think Benji's driving right now.
Oh, Benji, you're right. You're right.
All right, so he's just going to rely on his ability to outmaneuver and handle this boat that he's been driving for months, if not years now.
Yeah, it's you're well familiar with this thing at this point. So let's see how that turns out. You're doing a finesse roll, I take it?
Yes, I am.
And we have got ourselves an 8 clock to see if you can manage to pull out a win on this thing. The Eek wins. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so we've got the clock started. We've got a roll pending. We know we're in a controlled position. I think we're also having a potentially standard effect. It's been a little while since you've been able to race, so you're maybe a little rusty at this.
Okay. There's a way that I could potentially push myself.
Yeah, so you can push yourself, you can take a devil's bargain, or you can just trade position for effect. So you could go down to risky and go up to a great effect.
Nah. Okay. We'll just go.
Controlled standard?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Let's see. You got a 6. Okay. So you do it with a standard effect. I'm going to check one box or one segment on this clock. And there we go. So you're off and running, and you blaze past the first few competitors here. But you can see that Davian and Ulf are still up ahead of you, and Imbra is actually lagging a little bit behind at this point. And you can see already some of the dockers that are in Tangletown are like, "Oh, come on, Imbra, you can do this!" My cat just flipped out at my ankles. Okay.
I hope there are a lot of like 543 banners.
Oh, absolutely there are. Yeah, but you can see a lot of them are starting to like droop whenever Imbra starts to pull away a little bit into the rear.
Pull away into the rear.
Yeah, you know, words are things that happen. So, do you have any desire to help out Imbra? Do you have any desire to hinder your foes? Or are you just going to blast out of Tangletown and see where things take you?
I think. Well, I don't know. Benji's bloodthirsty. Does he care about the rules of Tingletown?
I think that's probably been impressed upon him, that it's very important to not to not screw things up in Tangletown, because it sounds like the consequences to that would be really, really devastating.
Yeah. There are a lot of powerful forces at work in Tangletown.
Are you allowed to defend yourself?
Well, you're not allowed to do violence. And that's the only rule that the powers that be care to pass down, because they're not interested in legalistic fiddling. Clank, are you scheming over there?
I'm trying to figure out what constitutes violence.
You know that these people are really unforgiving, first and foremost.
How long till we get out of Tingletown?
I mean the next roll.
Okay. I think we're fine at the moment, Jeremy.
Okay. So you blast out of you're like going through Tangletown, and it's basically like you've got a bunch of half sunken ships, but you also have a lot of pilings that are built up 5 or 10 feet, and so you're racing underneath the pilings, kind of moving between the columns and stuff that are holding them all up, and then you blast out onto the River Silk proper, and you're headed towards Silk Shore, and you can see that the field of competitors kind of fans out here. And they're going to have to come back together again into this crunch to get back into the canals. But for now, it's like neck and neck, dog eat dog. You're past Tangletown, so there's some real fighting going on. You've got like somebody launched an electroplasmic like pulse grenade thing at another boat, and it shocks the whole thing, and you can see that boat kind of lag behind as its engine dies. What's one other sort of gadgety thing that happens on this section of the river? From anybody.
Aquatic caltrops.
Aquatic caltrops. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I think it's Spall's boat. He pulls up ahead of you. And as he's coming up beside you, he doesn't say anything, but he looks at you and he's like, kind of shrugs. He pulls ahead and he pulls a lever, and you see all these caltrops coming out into the water. I think this is going to be harm done to the boat unless somebody rolls to resist it.
Well, I would roll something to activate our fan boat thing and have Benji like ramp it over this stuff.
Okay. So you're thinking like a quick boost to launch the Eek out of the water for a bit and just hop over?
Yeah. They see these things and it might be in the way in the water, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch, you said, like sunken stuff in the water right here, right? So why don't you just pull over to the left a little bit and ramp it off like a partially sunken ship?
Sure. I mean, that could work. So then, does that mean you want to do the resistance roll to activate this?
I have to resist to do it?
Yeah. I haven't done this very much in the game so far, but there are moments like, for example, when you encounter a ghost, they're just inherently terrifying, and before you can do anything, you have to pass a resistance roll to be able to act against them. And so occasionally, there will just be obstacles that you have to resist, and
Okay.
this is one of those situations.
Okay, sounds like a prowess resist, though.
Yeah, I think so. It's maneuvering. Prowess makes sense to me.
Cool.
So you take 2 stress then, as I imagine like you maybe jump onto the back of the boat and make the nose go up just as the airboat fan is kicking in, and you come up onto this thing and launch yourself over. Very cool. So you do that, and you come up neck and neck with Spall. And what do you do as you pull ahead?
Are we out of Tangletown?
Yeah, you're out of Tangletown. You're on the river at this point, and you're.
I toss my lightning bolt right in front of his face.
Oh God. Okay, so this is what kind of action are you rolling for this?
Finesse.
Finesse. Okay, so you're doing like a precision strike against Spall specifically.
A nice little toss. To put this thing so it'll go off like right in front of his face. And remember, it's like a flashbang.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So let's see how that turns out.
So position.
I think we're gonna deal with a controlled position still, and potentially great effect. I think because of the quality of this thing. A 4. You hesitate, withdraw and try a different approach, or else do it with a minor consequence. Do you want to actually accomplish it, but with a consequence?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to say the consequence is that in the course of this maneuvering to get over the caltrops and then to also take Davian out of the race, you will not actually tick a clock this round. But you can, of course, resist that as normal.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, sounds good. So you do not manage to get the segment on the clock here, but you do throw the flashbang right in front of Davian, and his arms go up and the flash goes off and his boat veers off to the side, and there's just no way that he can manage to recover at this point. The dude's out of the race. Now then, you head into the tangled canals of Silkshore. And there are a couple of boats that are kind of jostling back and forth with you. You notice the Imbra is not far behind you, and the spray of your engine is kind of washing over her face, and she's kind of trying to get out of the way. Ulf is nowhere to be seen right now. So you find yourself in a position where you're already ahead of Imbra, but helping Imbra out might help the dockers a little bit too.
What is Imbra's boat made of?
It's metal and wood. I mean, it's like a wooden body with metal accents, and it's got a little bit of really makeshift defenses, like armor and stuff. But it's, like I said, it's not a masterpiece.
If I hook to it with my magnetic line thrower and we go through a shortcut, will that allow us both to go through
it? I mean, that'd be a desperate roll, but sure.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So you are talking about a desperate roll to drag Imbra up over this shortcut with you and give her a little bit of a boost. And I think this is going to be a limited effect. You're trying to use like a person-oriented line thrower to drag an entire boat behind you.
Yeah.
You want to push yourself?
Yeah, I'll push myself.
Okay.
So I get that increases effect, right?
Yeah, you can do that to increase effect. Or
So I guess-
add a die. It's your choice.
Okay. Well, I guess. Okay, so this is sort of at the same time. Is Benji going to be jumping off and we're switching places?
I don't think so.
No.
I would imagine that's going to be like just after this.
Okay. So what do you want me to roll? Do you need Jeremy to roll something too, or do you want me just to do?
Yeah, you just do you do the hauling roll, and we'll assume that the piloting roll goes off without a hitch. It's nothing
Okay.
super stressful.
So do you think that's wreck or finesse?
Well, that's your decision.
I mean, we've been using finesse as handle a vehicle, and that's sort of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pull their vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, I could also see tinker even. You're just trying to like get the machine to work in such a way as to be advantageous to her.
I'd rather finesse, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah. Finesse is fine. So like I said, it's going to be a desperate position, and you're dealing with limited effect, but since you pushed yourself, you're going to go up to standard.
Desperate standard, and I get a plus die, because I am a daredevil.
That's right. So maybe I'll get to level some consequences against you. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Wow. That's 5 dice, and 4 of them are 3s. That's too bad. So it's the worst outcome.
Well, I guess I'm resisting.
Yeah, let me talk to you about these outcomes, though. So, first of all, I think it would be pretty disastrous. Imbra's boat would be outright destroyed, and we would not advance any clocks or we would not advance the clock to bring you closer to winning. So, those are 2 different consequences, and if you want to resist them, you have to do them individually.
Okay. I'll resist both. And they are at -1 die.
That's right, both of them. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Hey, Jeremy, I'm sorry if Click drop us down before you get off the boat. Oh, that one worked.
That's
okay.
6. Okay, very nice. So that was the first one to not advance the clock, right?
Okay.
And so that was a standard effect. We're going to advance the clock one more. Oh, a critical! So you actually clear one stress to get Imbra out of there. That's very nice.
All right.
Okay, so tell me how you managed to pull this out of nowhere.
So we are getting to Silkshore, and there's a part that it kind of juts around. The canal goes a little ways, but then comes back. It's sort of a I don't know what the term is. It goes forward a little bit and then a turnaround, but it comes back the other way. There's
Sure.
just a spit of land,
Like
a peninsula in the middle of that.
A hairpin turn kind of situation.
Right. So Clank knows that that there's no need to do that when you could just go over land, and so he points the direction for Benji where he wants him to go, and then goes to the back of the boat and shoots the magnetic line thrower at Embra's boat and catches on, and then just yells like hoots and hollers and howls and having the time of his life.
Not actually giving any instructions to Umbra, though. Okay, so the Eek hops up over land, and Imbra's boat gets dragged behind, like spraying sparks all over the ground. And then they both hop back in the water, and she's just like, she's only got the one eye, but the one that she's got is like wide open, and she's mouth agape. But then she quickly realizes, oh, I'm in a race, and so she starts like maneuvering again. And there's still some boats that are, you know, like not far behind you, but the two of you are in the lead for now, so that's good. It's now time to part ways, though. We are coming up on the Taffeta Road crossing, and this is where Benji will need to jump out. So, Benji, how are you doing that?
I am going to establish a flashback
Okay.
where I set up some. This is the Silk Shore district. So I found an awning, like this thick canvas awning that used to be out front of an establishment that has been shut down for some time, and I've repositioned it to basically act as like a sling or whatever. I'm gonna just basically fling myself out of the Eek and into this to catch me.
Very good. Okay, so you're just kind of hopping out and you're using it as a cushion.
Right.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So, let's see. The flashback is you identifying this awning ahead of time, or it's you like setting it up, or what is that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's me. Let's see. Yeah, it's me rigging this in such a way that it's not incredibly obvious at first glance what it's for. So that it'll be a little more discreet and nobody will mess with it before I get there.
That makes sense to me. So, what action are you rolling for this?
That's a great question. I had thought about Prowl, but that doesn't seem to be what Prowl covers.
Yeah.
Unseen and traverse obstacles. Study, but I'm super bad at that. Well, so bear with me here. Consort with connections from your heritage, background, friends, or rivals to gain access to resources, information, people, or places.
Sure.
So maybe this is even like a like quarantined or condemned building. So maybe somebody that I know is actually somehow gets me access to this place.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe whoever you know goes in and sets it up so that you can make a safe landing on this thing, and it won't be conspicuous. Cool. I like that. So, flashback, this isn't super stressful. I'm going to say maybe just one stress.
Okay.
Because there's no guarantee that you were going to make it to this place. You didn't
Sure.
want to necessarily, like, waste the favor. And otherwise, I think we actually did determine that position and effect does matter for flashbacks, so I'm going to say this is controlled
Okay.
because it's before anything happened, and standard.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna get crazy yet. No, you know what? I am. I'm gonna push position for effect.
Okay, so you're going to go
Risky position.
risky and great effect. Very nice.
Position.
I think with a great effect success, you won't even need to roll to actually like jump out of the boat. It'll just be set up and perfect for you to do so.
Yes.
A 6. All right, cool. So you did manage to set this up ahead of time, and when the time comes, you just flop out of the boat and land right there. While setting up the mannequin decoy, of course, too.
Yeah, and while he does that, Clink expertly uses his subterfuge supplies to make himself look exactly like Benji.
Delightful. Okay, so I feel like we're going to need a roll for that, too. But I want to hold on that because the camera actually follows Benji into the awning. And Ezel, what are you doing? Like, how are you there to help Benji as he falls into this awning?
So I've been sticking to the shadows for the most part of this race. Kind of, I'm in my Umbra persona, the fine shadow cloak tightly wrapped around me, and there is some sort of like vendor that I like knock his dire goat that's pulling it to kind of cause a distraction. So when this is all going down, people that are not necessarily near the boat, because I think we were hidden, but there's like a moment where this would have happened that kind of coincides with this lapse in their vision. So people aren't like, hey, where'd they go? Or just get suspicious of anything.
Sure.
I'm gonna prowl. What is my position and effect? Is that
Well, I think for this, you're just like showing up to help Benji, and
Yeah.
so no roll is really necessary. But you do manage to like help him out of the awning, and then the two of you slink away from the vendor and into the night, down a darkened alley, and you're on the hunt for this prostitute. So, what are we doing? What are the two of you doing to, figure this out?
I believe between what information Benji gathered and just kind of me keeping an eye on her for the beginning of this race, I kind of have an idea of where she is. Maybe she's watching the race or trying to hook up with someone at the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's a crowd of onlookers, and she could be working the crowd.
So I think at some point, probably before they get too close, Benji will have he will have changed his overcoat and his mask so that he dons kind of the same silver fox, I think is what it was, kind of persona that he started to take on as like this like bloodthirsty vigilante. So I think those will be my subterfuge supplies.
Very good. Okay, so Silver Fox and Umbra are sort of prowling after this prostitute. Are you going to sneak into the crowd and kill her right there? Are you going to watch and wait? Are you going to try and lure her away? What's the idea?
I think we should lure her away. But you're the murderer here, so
Jeremy would agree with
Benji is a little bit actually.
Benji?
Yeah, you're a little bit more.
Yeah.
We are the Duskvalian Batman and Robin, Silver Fox and Umbra.
Basically, yeah.
I think he's going to find a knot of people to kind of meld into that will eventually get him close enough to her where he's just going to like come out and shank her in the abdomen with one of the knives that he got from the knife thrower.
Wow. Okay. So you're not actually luring her out. You're going to do it right there in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do it as subtly as possible. Get close to her and you know drive the knife in and then try to disappear into the crowd.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this is desperate. It's right in the middle of the demons and everybody. I think you are an accomplished murderer, so standard effect. We're talking desperate standard right now. And I'm sorry, did you actually declare an action, or were you just describing narratively what was going to happen?
Yes. So yeah, I was just talking it out story wise, but I think that's probably going to be his action as well, if that's okay.
Is
Sure.
there any way for me to just help?
Yeah,
assist?
you can take 2 stress. Yeah, you take 1 stress and you give him 1 die.
I'll do that because I don't really foresee me doing anything like outright action-y. I'm just kind of the assist here.
Sure, sure.
I think maybe I am like the smuggler of your disguise here, so that you aren't caught with that. Maybe because I don't really foresee me being a whole lot of a use.
You can certainly make sure that our path is somewhat clear, or that we have a place to disappear to. Something like that, maybe.
For sure. Yeah, so maybe that's what you're doing
Oh, right.
We do have to get back on the boat.
eventually, but you'll be chilling out for a little while.
So I took the cloak and dagger thing from the slide. When you use a disguise or covert misdirection, I get an extra die to confuse or deflect suspicion. I
Oh.
don't think that necessarily is going to apply for the attack necessarily.
I mean, sure it would. Because the consequence that I had in mind was that you would be spotted and identified. And so
Okay.
this would give you a die to help you get a more favorable result and avoid that.
Okay. So this was desperate and
Desperate and standard.
standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to be rolling a whole butt full of dice, aren't you?
Yeah. Because I get the 1 extra for the cloak and dagger. Okay.
Yeah. And
So
1 from
desperate.
Baron.
Oh yeah, it's an extra die as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you said the effect is standard?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So submit with 2 bonus dice.
Hoping for like 5 3s again.
No.
Oh, wow. A critical. Okay. So you do it with increased effect. That means that not only do you kill her, but nobody notices because she doesn't even notice at first. And she takes several steps before like her bleeding out overcomes her ability to remain on her feet. So what does that look like? What do you do? Do you like reveal yourself to her? Do you say anything? What goes on?
Are there bluecoats present in this crowd?
No. This is still an illegal race, even if the sanctions have been relaxed.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're actually on the lookout for bluecoats so that they can disperse if they need to.
Okay. So I think he bumps into her, making it seem almost like an accident. And he's got the knife kind of down, like up against his own like body,
Mm-hmm.
so that when he bumps into her, he just drives this knife down in, kind of up underneath her ribs, and then lets go and just walks away. And she takes those few extra steps, and he turns around to say, "Excuse me," for having bumped into her. And as he does so, he actually lifts up his silver fox mask right at her. and just stares at her with a very hard, like leveled gaze.
Yeah. It takes her a second to notice and recognize who you are. But as soon as she does, she opens her mouth to scream, and then all of a sudden she feels the pain of the wound. And so she goes, it's just like, ow, oh, and then she just pitches over onto her face. Now, Izel, what are you doing in the wings to help Benji get away without being detected?
So I will use a flashback
Okay.
to set up. Is it fine if I use someone else's contact?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
I think that maybe Stasia's shop isn't around here, but maybe she has like an associate shop or is opening one up, and we're using it as like the run through to escape.
Mm.
I mean, she's like a medicine alchemist lady. I would imagine that a place like Silkshore would probably have a
Right.
few of those.
Yeah, for sure. Even if it's not her shop, she knows somebody who would be there.
Right.
Cool. So you grab Benji, duck into the shop.
I'm gonna retcon that. I have climbing gear.
Mm.
We're going up, baby.
All right. Sounds good. That way you can get advantage down on the race later on.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, cool. So you grab your climbing gear, you grab Benji, you duck into another alleyway, and then you begin your climb up to the rooftop. Meanwhile, Clank is all by his lonesome in the Electric Eek. And he's trying to get this boat to cooperate in the midst of a lot of competitors. Imbra is still having some trouble. You think maybe like giving her a leg up wasn't the 100% kindness that you thought it was going to be, because she's not really much of a contender here, but now she finds herself up to her neck in trouble. Ulf Ironborn in particular is giving her a lot of trouble. So what are you doing as you head toward the edge of Silkshore and out toward the lightning wall?
I think I'm changing into my Benji disguise.
Okay. So you're not even paying attention to the race much. You're kind of like dragging behind or something.
Yeah, like Clink's like, I gotta look like Benji. I gotta look like Benji.
All right. Well, let's see how it goes.
And so I'm gonna drive and while doing a quick change.
Okay. I think this is safe to say it's desperate. What action are you using now?
Finesse to one hand on the wheel, one hand, other hand putting like on a large black coat.
That makes sense. Yeah, sure. Okay, so you're doing that. Finesse, it's a desperate position. I think we're dealing with a limited effect because this is some serious...
I have subterfuge supplies.
Well, sure, but you're also trying to do it one-handed while you're racing a boat in the middle of a crowded canal.
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah, okay.
Let's see how this goes.
I get a plus die. A 5.
A 5, okay. So you do it, but there is a consequence.
Well, as he's doing it, he's going to yell out, "My name is Benjamin!"
Okay, sure. So the mannequin is in the back, dressed up in Clank's clothes. Clank is in the front, dressed up in Benji's clothes. And I think...
Or an approximation of Benji's clothes.
Yeah. I think as you're doing this, Ulf has been kind of like jostling Imbra back and forth. And you shout out, "My name is Benjamin." And Ulf goes, "Who cares?" And lobs a Molotov cocktail at the Eek. And so this is going to be severe harm, level 3 harm. You are going to be on fire.
Well, I don't want that to be.
And I'll say this. If you resist this, It won't be like you go down to level 2 harm instead. You'll avoid harm, but the boat will be on fire.
Okay, I'm just trying to think if I have something that can help me with that. Can I have a gadget that is a fire extinguisher?
You did not go through the effort of creating one, so no.
Okay, I have a gadget on my thing, so.
I think that's for the stuff that you already have formulas for, though.
Okay.
Although, I mean, the Eek has that smoke screen thing. Maybe that could stifle the flame somehow.
What part of the boat would be on fire?
All of it. The boat part.
Well, neither I want to be on fire, nor do I want the boat to be on fire. But I guess I first have to have it so Clink is not on fire.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
solve one problem and you can solve the other later.
Yeah, so again, I'm not rolling anything, I'm just resisting.
Yeah. Yeah, you're resisting. No, you did a finesse roll. And this
Yeah.
is a consequence from that. So yeah, you're rolling
This is
prowess
the
to
consequence
resist.
from getting a 5?
Yeah. Oh wait, a 5? There's a consequence, you suffer severe harm. Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow, okay.
It's tough. This is late game desperate actions, buddy.
Negative dice.
For prowess?
Yeah. For to resist.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought you meant you were rolling 2 and taking the lower.
No.
Okay, so you add one more stress while patting the flames off of your body.
I'll yell back, Clank! Watch out!
So yeah, Clank in the background is still actually on fire.
Stop, drop, and roll.
But you manage to like bank a little bit inside the canal and you spray some water up on top of the Clank mannequin to where it douses him and it's not super conspicuous. So
Okay.
that's nice.
So
Well
I'm
done
not
there.
on fire, but the boat's on fire.
The boat's still on fire. Yeah. You and the mannequin are safe. The boat itself is still very much on fire. And you are coming rapidly toward the lightning wall. This is actually whatever action you take right now will incorporate the lightning wall in some way.
Well, I would like to do something that would put out the flames. So what can I do? Okay, actually, can you set a clock or something to let me know how long I have until the fire actually does enough to do damage to the boat?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And you know what? It's going to be a 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Alrighty.
What do I have to do to put it out?
You got to fill that clock, buddy. And narratively, you get to decide the details. Alrighty. Freehand. No text.
Who's around me?
Imbra and Ulf.
And Ulf's boat is big and armored.
Big and armored and nasty looking, yeah.
If I shoot a firework at the water, what's the splash gonna be?
Not great. I mean, the explosion from the firework would be a lot bigger than the splash from the firework hitting the water.
Okay, so but the explosion, if it explodes in the water, it'd be a big.
You know what, though? I said that there are going to be spirit wells in this thing, so there is actually a spirit well between you and the lightning wall. It's like the last spirit well between you and the lightning wall. So, you know, electroplasm messes with spirit stuff. If you were to shoot the spirit well with the cannon, maybe that would have some sort of catastrophic effect.
Catastrophic sounds fun at this point, so
All right, so what action are you using for this bad boy?
I suppose I'm gonna wreck.
Mm-hmm.
The hope being I will shoot the water at the spirit well, to cause whatever disruption for Ulf that would be, and hopefully the water would come up and douse the flames on the Eek.
Okay, well that's asking for a lot, but let's see how it turns out.
Okay.
So did you declare an actual action, or did you just say what your intention is?
I said wreck, so I'm going to shoot my cannon.
Wreck. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Let's see how that turns out. We're going to do a desperate position. We're going to do a standard effect, I think. And also, everybody, make sure that you're marking your experience points for these desperate actions as well.
Oh, I am.
Good.
There we go.
6. Wow, you did it. Okay, so you launched this firework at the Spirit Well. And the Spirit Well, what does it look like? How is it weird? It's not like an actual well.
The water both looks flat and calm around it, but it also looks like there's a whirlpool.
Okay. Yeah.
So the water is level on the top, but like it looks like you can see like a whirlpool going underneath, and it's not pulling water down.
Yeah, I'm on board for that. Yeah, it's like a weird sort of spectral situation.
Yep.
I approve. All right, so let's see how that pans out then. You have succeeded there, so the firework launches off. The firework collapses into this whirlpool thing, and the whirlpool, I think, speeds up really quickly for a second and then stops abruptly right before there's this gigantic shower of water and electroplasmic arcs of lightning. And you can hear the wail of like a dozen ghosts as they flee from this spirit well as quickly as possible. And all of this happens like right as Ulf is ahead of you, headed past the spirit well. So I think the arcs like hit his boat and really just kind of ruin his day. I'm going to, because you got a 6, I'm going to mark 2 segments on a clock for Ulf's boat sinking. So well done there. However, you did not address the fire on your own boat this time, so I'm going to advance the Eek sinks clock by 1.
No, I did. A little bit.
Yeah, you're right. How do I want to do this?
Hopefully the flames don't get more spread. I guess I'll be on fire. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're still on fire, but like it's turning into more of like a smolder than an active fire, right? So maybe one more thing and you'll be able to douse the flames completely. You were trying to accomplish a whole lot just now.
Okay,
I'm trying to find a way to like divide things up. So I guess you could say, if you want to say that Ulf isn't actually affected, we could say that the fire is completely extinguished.
Okay, I want Ulf affected. So
Okay.
I just want to understand. So you're progressing the Eek sinks, but it's a 2 clock pretty much to douse the flames. So it would take some other action to douse the flames completely.
Yeah, one more action, I think, and the flames will be out. So
Okay.
unless there's like any major disaster, then the Eek probably will not sink.
Okay. I just want to be clear what's going on.
Sure.
Did him messing with Ulf's boat at all advance the Eek wins clock at all?
You know what? That's a very good point. I'm going to advance that once more. So the Eek is now halfway to winning. All right.
We're
And
also
then-
way to sinking, just so you know,
I mean, no, you're only 1/4 of the way to sinking.
which is also known as 1/4.
Oh, I thought you said half. Sorry. Anyway, I have ears. They work. Okay, so you are speeding toward the lightning wall. What does it feel like when a human goes through the lightning wall? It's not lethal. I know that.
Okay. I would say it feels like your ears pop, like you're going a high altitude all real quick, and like your limbs feel like they've gone to sleep. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
I would say that happens.
Very nice. Your ears pop. Your limbs fall asleep, and it takes a little while for that to wear off. Your
You
teeth,
can move, it just feels weird, and you might it'll probably affect reflexes.
for sure. I like it. Okay, cool. So that happens. You get a little bit of a shock as you go through there, and you are now out on the open waters of the Void Sea.
Clank yells, "I am a noble!"
Meanwhile, back in Silkshore, Izel, you have just helped Benji get out of there, up onto the rooftops, and now you are making your way toward the rendezvous. So the path up on these rooftops, there are like walkways and catwalks that have been constructed. This is very similar to your very first foray with the crew whenever you ran over the rooftops to deliver that covert drop. But also very similar to that situation, as you and Benji are moving across the rooftops, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And you know that you're being followed.
Fox, there's no time to stop now. We have to go quickly.
Why are you moving so fast?
There's someone behind us.
We've got time. What do you mean? He kind of stops and looks.
Don't look.
What-
Just run.
Look, I'm not used to going over rooftops this fast before. Just maybe we just turn around and deal with whoever's following us.
I would draw a pistol.
Okay. So you're going to draw a pistol, or are you going to turn around also, or are you just going to draw the pistol and keep going?
I'm going to turn around.
Okay. So you turn around, and you see nothing at first. It takes a little while in this still, cold night for you to notice that there is a blackness moving amongst the shadows. And then all of a sudden, some points of light show up within the blackness. And you realize that it is that same strange, demonic creature floating around this chimney and starting to approach you with its arms up and down, almost looking like it's reaching out toward you. And you can see this electroplasmic energy coming off of its arms, creating almost like a sort of electroplasmic scythe of really spindly teeth.
Oh, good lord. Benji, I hope you have a spirit bane charm.
Actually, I'm going to need you both to make resistance rolls to be able to function in the presence of this terrifying thing.
What kind of?
This is going to be resolve. That's the bottom one for attune, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I propose a bonus dice if we have spirit bane charm?
You would need a fine Spirit Bane charm to get a bonus die, I think.
Yippee for you.
That's the one that's italicized.
No, italicized means it has 0 weight.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Oh, it has. Yeah, it says fine if it's fine. I
Yeah.
see. Damn.
So, Baron, you have, or Izel, I should say, you have been shaken a little bit by this thing. You gain 2 stress, but nonetheless, you do manage to contain yourself in the presence of this creature. And Benji, you manage yourself even just... Oh, wait. Yeah, you managed to compose yourself even just a little better than Izel. You are a shell-shocked man, and you've seen a lot. And it turns out this isn't much more.
So I take the 1 stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How's everybody doing with stress, by the way?
I'm sitting fine.
I'm at 3.
Okay, so nobody's in a real bad position then. So yeah, this creature is like hovering toward you, and it's just radiating malice, but it's not saying anything. You can't discern any kind of face on this creature, so you can't really tell, any sort of body language cues. It's just completely alien, completely other. But as it gets closer, you can smell 2 things: the spray of the Void Sea and ozone, as if just before or just after a lightning strike. And Izel, you've got a pistol drawn. Do you want to shoot this thing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, I don't suppose you've got electroplasmic bullets, do you?
Is there a playbook that does?
Jonathan Black, the Hound did.
Wow. What have I done? No, I do not.
Do you have a flashback maybe where you could acquire an asset, give Jonathan some coin, and pick up some bullets?
That's exactly what I was going to do already, Eli.
Of course, of course.
Give me some time to say it.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I should have given you a moment.
Yeah, I would like to pay for a flashback with some stress.
Okay, sounds good. And I think this is going to be fairly stressful. I'm going to say this is a 2 stress thing because you were really shocked by this creature the first time it came around, and the second time it was even worse. And you exorcised it, but you just didn't think it was quite gone. And so going to Jonathan, you're kind of rattled by that.
Uncle Jonathan, you tend to err on the side of the occult and whatnot. Perhaps you would have some sort of ammunition to use against something of that nature?
Yeah, love, I got something like that. Come on back and I'll show you. All right, so what I need you to do is roll for your tier, just 2 dice, like a fortune roll.
2 dice. 5 and a 4.
A 5 and a 4. So you get a standard tier 2 set of electroplasmic bullets. And Jonathan's like, you know how to use these, right?
You put them in the thing and you point and aim. Click, whatever.
I think we should probably practice a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps.
So he spent some time with you, and then we flash back to the present, and you are finally able to apply these lessons with these electroplasmic bullets. So let's see how this goes.
I'm thinking skirmish.
Skirmish is definitely like a melee kind of attack thing. So if you wanted to do that, I would say it's like a limited effect.
Okay. What is used for like firing a gun?
Hunt.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jonathan was way better at this than I was.
Maybe Benji could assist, give you an extra die. Maybe you could push yourself, get an extra die.
Yeah, I'll push myself.
Okay, so that's 2 stress to get an additional die.
And
Benji, you're gonna take 1 stress and get given an additional die as well.
I will.
All right. So what do you do to assist Izel as she confronts this creature? That, like I said, it was about the size of a torso, but now it's even bigger. It's like it's a little taller than you are.
He pulls his Spirit Bane charm out that he keeps close now that he is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls this thing out and starts basically, presenting it like a crucifix almost against, a vampire, just kind of thrusting it towards it and trying to wave it away, hoping that it'll at least cause a little bit of distraction.
Very good. And what does your Spirit Bane charm look like?
I don't remember if I've established this already or not.
If you haven't, then maybe, or if you already have, then maybe you just picked up a different one.
I think this is something that he might have lifted out of those the trinkets that the chests that they blew up.
Yeah. Okay.
That had come in.
Yeah, one
And
of those Void Sea artifacts.
Yes, and it's Leviathan bone. It's some kind of like excuse me. It's carved into almost like a eldritch kind of looking creature. It's just like all almost tentacles and just creepiness.
Very cool.
He's going to kind of thrust this in this thing's direction.
Yeah. All right. And it doesn't seem repulsed by the Spirit Bane charm. You get the sense that it might not be strong enough. You know that there's such a thing as a Demon Bane charm too, and maybe this is a demon that you're facing, but it does at least get distracted seemingly from Izel long enough for Izel to take the shot. So Izel, you're pushing yourself to do this. What extra effort are you exerting on this situation?
I think this kind of ties into my trauma, and I'm just firing, partially out of instinct, partially out of fear.
Okay. Yeah, so let's see here. Go ahead. I'm going to say that this is a desperate roll. I'm going to say that it has a potentially standard effect. And let's see how it turns out.
And I got 1 bonus die.
2.
2.
1 from pushing and 1 from assistance.
Gotcha.
A
Hey.
4.
4.
You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer severe harm, a serious complication occurs, you have reduced effect. I think... Oh boy, what do I think? I think it's going to be
I don't know.
harm. So you, in trying to do this, get a little too close to this thing, right? And I mentioned that it's got these electroplasmic spines that are coming off of its arm that kind of form a scythe-like shape. And they're waving, almost like they're seaweed or something, kind of this disgusting kind of seaweed. And as they move forward, you can see they have these little sparks that shoot out ahead of them, right? But as you pull the trigger and shoot this thing, it draws close enough that one of its arcs, one of its little hairs, its spines, shoots off of it and goes straight for the middle of your forehead. This is severe harm. This is going to be brain shock, and you can resist this if you would like.
Yeah. Oh, no, actually. Yeah, why not? I want to try it.
All right, so you're rolling, I guess it's insight,
Oh, dear.
and 6 stress minus the highest result.
We're going to trauma out again, boys. Oh, not too bad.
5,
I'm
okay.
clinging on by the 1 stress of my teeth.
Yeah. So this is going to go from level 3 harm down to level 2 harm. And instead of brain shock, it's just that you are plain shocked for a second. And that harm will probably fade away pretty quickly. But the real moral of this story is that you have come one step closer to being able to chase the Watcher away. So I will populate that clock, and let's go back to Clank out on the Void Sea there. So you are on the Void Sea. This is the first time you've been on the Void Sea since you were a Leviathan hunter, sailor.
That is true. And on my voyages as on a Leviathan hunter ship, occasionally fires broke out.
Uh-huh.
And Clank learned how to deal with that in the most Clank-like way.
Of course, of course.
So I have 2 methods that I want to try here, and I'll let you decide what I'm allowed to do. So, some Googling of how to prevent boat fires. I can try to deprive it of oxygen, and would burning a smoke bomb do that?
That's what I was thinking earlier. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Or I can try to make my own like dry chemical fire extinguisher by throwing powder on it.
I mean, it stands. What powder are you using?
I have something called drown powder.
I wonder what that does. Let's just see really quick. So the characters, the leech.
It's an alchemical. All it says is drown powder.
Drown powder. Sample creations. I don't know that it's going to tell us So I think you might get to make it up. No, drown powder. A fine dust that incapacitates by giving the sensation of drowning. So fine dust, I mean, sure, it could be effective with a fire. I think it'll be, if you go with the powder, it'll be a limited effect. If you go with the smoke, it'll be a standard effect.
I suppose I'll go with the smoke then.
Okay.
I was just trying to get creative.
Sure. I want to say that out here on the Void Sea, you would be in a risky position, but the Void Sea is pretty dangerous and you're multitasking, so yeah, I think it's just going to remain risky standard now that I think about it.
So I guess I'm going to finesse it, though, because I'm still trying to drive while throwing a smoke bomb at the fire to put it out.
That makes sense to me.
So it's a risky, you said?
Yes, risky standard. A 6. All right, cool. So you throw this smoke bomb toward the engine, and it blows up with a bunch of smoke billowing out everywhere.
And I will yell, Clank, don't breathe that in.
Yeah, and Clank in the background is atypically silent. Very strange. But yeah, so the Eek is no longer on fire. I am going to go ahead and keep the clock there about the Eek sinking, just in case there's any more damage that gets suffered later on. But I won't be advancing it unless there's some new situation.
That's fine. Does the billowing of smoke from my boat, I know it's not on fire, but does it put like in a false sense of security for Ulf? Like,
I think, yeah, Ulf and a couple other racers, they feel like, oh, the Eek's out of here. So they let you sort of drift away from them. And you got a 6, so I can't even level any sort of consequences against you. That's too bad. Well, you're out here on the Void Sea, right? And you know that there are going to be a lot... You can actually see places where spirits are sort of coalescing up from the water. And there are things that are not tentacles that are coming out of the water, too. And that's all you really know.
Things that are not tentacles.
Yeah, you can't think of any other way to describe them. But it's about time that you tried to navigate out of the Void Sea and back into the Silk Shore docks.
Clank is happy with that.
Okay, sounds good. Also, I checked a clock incorrectly earlier. That was for putting out the fire, not for racing. Actually, no, you got some people to lay off of you, so you were able to jolt ahead just a little bit. So you only have 3 sections of clock you have to fill. So we're doing what? We're doing another finesse roll here to get out of here?
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Now the Eek has like a special engine, right?
It does, the electro energy kicker.
But I guess can I use that now?
Sure. Yeah, you could maybe push yourself to get an additional die and say that it's like the stress of the engine is modeled in your stress in the sense that you know you're pushing the engine toward its limit.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, crap. Okay, yep, I'm gonna do that. That's what Benji would do.
Okay. So you're going to do finesse. It's going to be a risky position because we are out of immediate danger, but you're still in the Void Sea. It's going to be...
You know what, though? Let's trade position for effect as well.
Okay, because I was going to say it'll be risky standard, so you want to go down to desperate and great.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, you stand to check all of these segments of the clock, potentially.
And I get 2 bonus die. I'm pushing myself?
Yes. You get 1 bonus die from pushing yourself. And you get... That's it, I think.
Well, and I traded position for effect.
Well, but you don't... Oh, but you're doing a daredevil. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so 2 extra dice.
Okay. I'm really nervous now.
You should be.
Yes!
2 6s! That's a critical! You do it with increased effect. All right, so pulling off to the rear there, you manage to find some space, and you gun the Eek engine, and it just rockets off, and you, like, pull past everybody. You can see Imbra's still really floundering back there. You get past the lightning wall, and you're back into Silk Shore, and there is not a bit of competition in sight anywhere. you come back through and you're rattled a little bit. You're feeling your ears pop and your limbs fall asleep and that sort of thing. But you're in the lead. The Eek stands to win this thing as long as nothing else really terrible happens, because you didn't destroy your opponents. You only blazed past them. So, speaking of terrible things happening, Izel, you shot this creature, right? And when you shot it, it seemed like even the electroplasmic bullets didn't exactly like tear the hole in it that you thought they would. It definitely got injured and it recoiled backward, and you felt this whoa kind of pressure inside your head, right? It's almost a pressure that you can hear, almost like a migraine. And you stumble backward from this thing as it's reeling, and you realize you've got an opportunity to either escape or press your attack. Which one do the two of you want to do?
I think we should run.
Absolutely.
All right. Probably declared a little more urgently than that, but
Benji, I think we should run.
Way ahead of you. Right here. He's
So do
already
you guys
found
wanna
like,
do-
a way to get out of there.
oh, sounds good. So if you found it, do you want to lead a group action to get away?
Does that incur stress?
It might if Baron rolls poorly.
Sucks. Will I
Yes.
kill you?
Yes. I'll do it.
Okay, so you're going to lead the group action. I would imagine if you're doing some sort of like movement, this is probably prowl, but if you have another argument, that makes sense to me.
Okay. So what he found is actually an unattended carriage with a dire goat.
Okay, down on the street.
Yeah, and he's literally going to like grab Umbra's hand and like leap off, and the two of them are literally just gonna like punch through like the cloth like covering
Yeah,
of this carriage and like whip it into gear.
very nice.
The eagle sounds. Ezio's behind us.
But you know
In
what? There
spirit.
was a fine layer of straw on the bottom of the carriage, so you're totally safe. No injuries whatsoever.
Yeah,
He
no
doesn't
matter
know.
from how high you jumped up.
Right, it's true. It was like 300 feet, and it didn't even matter. Okay, so
It's a swan dive head first.
yeah, so you're doing prowl then to jump off of the roof, or would you rather do finesse to drive away? What do you think makes more sense?
Yeah, I think finesse
Okay,
to
so
stick the landing and then get this thing to go.
I think what that means then is that the consequences will be more about failing to leave the roof safely than they will be about failing to get that wagon off
Sure.
and running.
Absolutely.
Cool. So we are in a desperate position because this is a demon that you're facing off against. This is a standard effect because the action is overall pretty simple, and you're rolling finesse. So let's see how it goes. And Izel, you will also roll finesse, and we count the single highest result from both of your rolls.
It was desperate standard.
Yeah, desperate standard. So we got a 5. Let's see if Izel gets herself a 6.
Oh, I doubt it.
A 5. Okay, so Benji doesn't gain any stress. That's nice, but it is a desperate position and there is a consequence. So I think what's going to happen is that both of you are going to suffer level 2 harm. I think like twisted leg or something. You just land really rough flying off of this roof. However, you also fill a segment of the clock to get away from this creature.
I'm gonna.
What?
I would like to try to resist.
Okay. Let's see how this goes, Benji.
I don't know if I like that song, that laugh.
I don't know how much stress he's got, but it's probably a fair bit.
All right, no bonus dice.
Oh, you're
man.
probably fine. I just
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
nice. Okay, you rolled a critical, which means you clear 1 stress.
Oh, holy shit.
Well
Well, that makes
done.
great sense. My vice uh, is speed.
Yeah. 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 This is your element.
So like
So you go from
I hurt myself, but like racing this goat like spikes my adrenaline deals with it.
yeah, it doesn't even you're not even phased, not even a little bit. So you go from a twisted leg to a sprained ankle then. It's level 1 harm instead of level 2. And Izel, did you want to resist that or you're just going to deal with it?
I can't trauma out, so I'm just gonna deal with it.
All right, well, that's fine. So you guys rocket down the road here. And I think it's like nighttime. It's the time of day when most people sleep, I guess you should say, because it's always nighttime. So you're like moving through the streets and they're not crowded per se, but there is a bunch of stuff in the streets left over from, people just leaving their stuff outdoors. And this creature is still following you. You can see it hovering up in the sky above and slowly moving down in basically a straight line toward you. So what special actions do you take to try and like get this thing off your tail? Maybe another shot with the pistol.
Yeah. Fire some more rounds.
Cool. Okay, so I think you're going to go down to a risky position here. And I'm assuming you're going to continue to use hunt for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So risky position. This is a pistol, and it's at somewhat significant range. So I'm going to say a limited effect.
I'm gonna go ahead and trade position for effect.
Okay, so what do you do to make your situation a little more desperate?
I'm standing up in the cart, which is terribly unsafe.
Of course. Yeah, you might fall out of that thing. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. There's cart belts.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be just standard.
So you go to desperate and standard, yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey, damn it! Take the lowest
That's
score.
okay. You still got a 4, so you did it. You shoot this thing, and you hear this kind of almost migraine sensation, but it's diminished. This thing is further away. You also get the impression that it's weakening a little bit, and so you manage to pull ahead of this thing a little bit as you're racing down the road. However, there is a consequence, and I think the consequence is that as you are leaning out to shoot this thing, Benji accidentally bumps over some sort of obstacle in the street, and so you fly out, and it's a complication. You are now being dragged behind the wagon as you're blazing down the street. So you're going to have to try and make your way back up into the wagon.
Okay. Is that you want me to do that right now?
I would, please.
So on top of I have light climbing gear and normal climbing gear.
Yeah. And you've already checked at least one of those.
Yeah. Could I check the other?
Sure.
Maybe I have like some sort of clip or kind of like we've already established that I have some sort of harness, so maybe I'm like using that as like a pulley system to adjust how much weight I'm pulling with my arms.
Very nice. Very nice. Did you ever see Attack on Titan?
Yes.
You know the like active mobility gear or whatever it is that they wear?
Absolutely.
I love the idea of like you come out of this and you're basically like using your harness to surf or like behind the thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That'd be rad. Okay, cool. So let's see how this goes. So what action are you using for this?
I am going to I'm gonna try prowl.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Despite it not being unseen, it's traversing obstacles, so
yeah. I think that's fitting. And so you fell off of this thing. I didn't say that it affected your effect, though. So let's say that this is still a risky position.
okay.
Actually, no. You went down to desperate. So this is a desperate position now.
Yes.
And we're talking standard effect because you're a climber. You know what's going on.
Come on. God damn it.
Oh
4.
no, a 4. Okay, so you do it. You manage to climb back into the wagon.
But there's a complication.
Actually, no. I'm going to say that it's reduced effect.
Okay.
And so you manage to get to where you're no longer being dragged behind the wagon, but you're holding on to the back of it. You're going to have decreased mobility or like functionality to act on other stuff until you can climb back in the wagon.
Makes sense.
And so as the wagon rockets down the alleyway, we switch over and we can see the electric eek rocketing down a canal. And the eek is pulling out ahead, so we're almost getting to the place where it's time for the eek and the other members of the crew to meet up. And what I want to know is, what is that point like? Where is the spot where you guys decide to like jump back in with each other?
I think it has to be a bridge over like a narrow spot in the canal or something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
One
That
of
makes
these,
sense.
Like, arched, like Venetian bridges almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the lampposts on it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
And so, Clank, you can see this bridge coming up.
Before I get to it, then I will turn on my smoke screen. That way, when Benji jumps back in, they can't see him fall from the bridge.
It's brilliant. It's truly brilliant. Do you want to also use this as a chance to like? Well, you've already filled the clock. There's no need to fill any further.
Clink is just like taking the opportunity to yell different things and like support the 543 and nobody beats the electric geek
The
and
smoke.
my family goes over streets.
Oh boy. The smoke screen could potentially fill a more on sinking Ulf's boat
Yeah, you're right. It could.
by hiding some of like the.
You could also try
Highlight.
to like mask your escape from this creature that you're still trying to get away from.
Yeah, that's better.
I'll let you all choose whatever goal you want to apply it to, but you do have the option of fulfilling one goal.
I really like that idea, and I would assume Umbra would be jumping on the boat as well. And then it's like, we added a person to the boat.
Well, didn't we establish once before that like the Eek had like a space for someone to like lay down inside
Yeah,
of it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a cargo spot.
I could.
Which is
prowl
where
down there.
where the mannequin had been hiding at the start.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like sprung up out of there.
All right, so let's see here. We
Okay,
need.
did anyone watch Umbrella Academy? Because now I'm just picturing the kid that's in love with the mannequin.
I did not watch Umbrella Academy, not
I
yet.
haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna need rolls from Benji and Ezel to try and get into the Eek, and I think this should be a group action again.
Benji, take the wheel. Take it from Clang's hands.
This is also definitely a desperate action for what it's worth.
I can't afford to take any more stress.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
on you, buddy.
I've got 3. Do you want me to?
Yeah, line hook me.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to lead it, Clank, I'm down with that.
Okay, sure. What does it entail again? So I take stress if they fail.
Yes. And
Okay, so you need prowl.
what action is this going to be? Is it going to be prowl?
Oh, I was just. It looked like it might fit. But
I
if
guess I
Clank
have to
is leading the action-
finesse to get it to where they want it, right?
Well, everybody has to roll the same action, so we would
Oh,
just have
okay.
to figure out a way to describe prowl in the context of you piloting the boat.
Oh well, prowl makes sense for them because they've got to jump.
Yeah, but if you're leading the action, maybe.
Well, that doesn't make sense then. Sorry, maybe you have to lead your own action.
Oh,
Because it would make sense that I would finesse where they are, but it would make sense that they prowl to jump.
Yeah.
So
But I mean,
it-
you could like prowl. The prowling could be the smoke screen that you're setting off, for example, to like
Or
cover
like,
tracks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And it sounds like then it would make more sense to apply that to the Watcher, escaping the Watcher, than to sink Ulf's boat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've got a group prowl roll, desperate position, standard effect, and let's see how this turns out.
Desperate standard. I get a plus die.
6, very nice.
There it is.
6. And a 4. Okay. Well, nobody failed, so nobody gains stress. That's really nice. And you do have a 6, and so you get inside. You
Well-
manage to...
So is that not a critical because we have 2 6s?
No, if you had taken the synchronized special ability that I suggested at the beginning of the session, then it would count as a critical. But
Ah.
you didn't, so next time just follow my advice, I guess. All right, so
You're being a real jerk this session. No.
I am. I truly
The
am.
bully mantle has been lifted.
Yeah,
You're going to be on fire or your boat's on fire.
We're entering the end game now. There are a million some odd scenarios, and anyway, so the smoke screen fires up and shrouds this entire canal in mist. Hot mist, actually. It's hot steam smoke screen. And then Benji and actually Benji, how do you help Izel off of the wagon and down into the boat?
Keep in mind, I'm not in the wagon.
Right. So I think he actually like is turning this dire goat like onto this bridge over the water.
Mm-hmm.
And realizes that there's a spot in the wall that's kind of partially crumbled. It looks like it might be, being set up for repair, but the repairs haven't started yet. And he actually speeds the goat up, heading towards that. And at the last minute, like jerks the reins to the side so that it actually like uses the ass end of this carriage to like throw to throw Umbra.
Very
This
nice.
is precisely why they created card belts.
And then you leap off yourself afterward. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal though. Izel got a 6 on her roll and Benji only got a 4. So Izel, this is what happens. How do you manage to save Benji in the course of this thing?
My my good old climbing gear. I have. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit more narrative. So I get flung, and I actually think I get flung high.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit more increased velocity of this getting like whipped from
You're
this carriage.
aerodynamic, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously. I mean, we're totally on the same page tonight. It's making my job incredibly easy. And Benji, you actually, it's not a hesitation. You're just a little bit more out of the way in terms of like a clear leap. So you kind of have to like just jump. And I feel like this netting of climbing gear is still kind of around me. And I managed to like clip you. And so like my trajectory pulls you just far enough so that you're not going to land in the water. It probably doesn't feel too good, but we both kind of land in inopportune spots of the boat, but is still in the boat.
Cool. I love it. Okay, so you all slam into the boat. The steam is going everywhere. You see this creature up above hovering and looking around, kind of rotating around in a slow circle. And Clank, do you notice this thing, or are you really focused on the water, or what's going on as you're settling back into new roles on the boat here?
Clank is not paying attention to that at all. He's quick changing back to Clank.
Of course, okay. So this terror from beyond space and time is totally lost on Clank.
We didn't even see it.
Benji, go ahead.
I was gonna say to quick change back, he's gonna like Hulk it. Like he's gonna like the jacket was really tight because it was Benji's actual jacket.
So he just rips right through that thing. All
And
right.
he's just gonna flex to like rip it, and so it would fall away.
I've always said Clank is a really good friend. All right. So Benji, you notice that Clank has left the wheel so that Clank can rip out of your own clothing and turn back into Clank. What are you doing right now?
He claps Clank on the back of the head whenever he realizes that he actually wore like his jacket. What? Why would you even think that that was a good idea?
It's called subterfuge.
Clank. He's just gonna like walk over and grab the wheel, like just completely lost as to how to even begin to deal with this situation.
Makes a lot of sense. And Izel, what are you doing to make yourself scarce in the boat here?
I have thrown the mannequin into the water
Of course.
and rightfully taken its spot in the smuggler's hatch.
Okay, sounds good. So you're just like hunkered down in the hatch as the boat blazes out of Silkshore. No longer blazes; it smokes out of Silkshore, across the River Silk, into Tangletown, through the columns, and across the finish line, like a full minute before Ulf chugs into the finish line second, and then Imbra manages to cross the finish line third. Lucky her. And so that is the conclusion of our race. Congratulations, everyone. The Electric Eek reigns supreme once again. Everybody hoists you up onto their shoulders except you, Izel, because you're still in the smuggler's thing, making your quiet getaway. Nobody can know that you were there. But you know that you did some good stuff tonight. You accomplished some things. And, yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and go into downtime.
I would assume everyone asks Benji, like, how'd you think to do that move out in the void sea?
Yeah. And Benji, did you plan ahead to actually be able to respond to these questions that you knew were going to come, or what?
You know, I think that he did not. I think he was busy planning this very kind of laser focus on taking this this informant out, and whenever the thought of having to address questions came up, he just kind of, I'll wing it. That's reckless.
Of
That's
course.
right.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay, so we're going to go into downtime now. So payoff is step 1. You earn 2 rep per score by default. If the target of the score is a higher tier, take +1 per rep, or +1 per tier. This prostitute was not, so you don't add rep for that. So you get 2 rep total. And then you earn a coin based on the job. This is going to be 8 coin. However, you have to pay 3 of that coin to Rosalind if you want to make sure she doesn't get pissed off about this blackmail arrangement.
So as we have to till we kill her.
Yeah. I would have to agree.
What a reaction. Okay.
Maybe you are picking up on a few things Benji's putting down, Clank.
So
I mean, that was what we were going to do next session, right?
is kill Rosalind?
I mean, we should have did it last session, as far as I'm concerned.
we got to get these races legalized first.
Yeah. It's
That's not so important.
And who knows? You might really ruin the Docker's chances if you kill somebody who's in any way connected.
Whatever.
So we get 5 coin.
Yes.
Well, 2 for the crew. Everyone gets 1.
Very good. I was just starting up a clock here really quick. Pay me no mind. Come on.
Hey, we paid her.
Yeah, that's why I'm not advancing the clock this time.
Oh.
Okay, so you paid her. Let's see. Heat. Well, this seemed like it was actually kind of a contained thing. The race was not really so much the thing you were trying to keep under wraps, but even then you did a average job of keeping it under wraps. The real thing was trying to avoid heat from the assassination of this prostitute. And sure enough, you did that. In fact, the only time that was really relevant, it was smooth and quiet. So I think this is 0 heat. But you did kill someone. So you actually get 2 heat from that.
Okay.
All right. So now entanglements. Roll dice equal to your wanted level. And this is actually going to be 2 dice that you will roll separate. And I believe your wanted level is 1.
Correct. But we are now slippery. So we roll twice and keep the one you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so you'll roll twice.
Where is entanglement?
Well, I think you just roll fortune. Just roll like 1 fortune die. All right, so 5. And how much heat do you all have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
7. Okay. So 5 is demonic notice or a show of force. Let's roll the other one and see what options you have there too. 6 is arrest. So let's see. If you do the 5, demonic notice means that a demon approaches the crew with a dark offer. Accept, hide until it loses interest, in which case you forfeit 3 rep or deal with it another way. Or show of force. A faction with whom you have a negative status makes a play against your holdings. Give them 1 claim or go to war. And an arrest, an inspector presents a case file of evidence to a magistrate to begin prosecution of your crew. The Bluecoats send a detail to arrest you. Pay them off with coin, equal to wanted level plus 3, or hand someone over to arrest. This clears your heat, or try to evade capture.
I sort of want to go to war with the grinders. What does that entail again?
Show of force. They're going to make a play against your holdings. So you either give them 1 claim or you go to war with the grinders.
Right, so what does going to war entail?
It means that you all of a sudden only have 1 downtime activity per person. Special abilities notwithstanding, so Benji's ability still gets that +1. And it means that they are going to try to actively destroy you.
Sounds lovely.
Don't it, though?
How do we destroy them?
You go fight them. Usually the subject of a score. And if you want to try and, like, stop them in 1 thing, then that's going to be pretty tough.
I guess, we're trying to do a whole bunch of stuff, so I guess it's not wise to get into another thing.
Sometimes you don't get to choose. This time we get to choose.
Awful lot of fires around this frying pan.
We've killed 1 grinders leader. What's another?
Yeah. That's
well,
the
I
right
don't mind
attitude.
killing him. I want more than 1 downtime activity.
True.
So the alternative is either to let someone get arrested or bribe the Bluecoats off with coin, or to have a demon approach you with a dark offer.
Is there a bigger jellyfish that we can consort with?
It could be.
I'm down with that. That might be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm leaning.
I can't go to jail.
No, and you can't do it again either. He won't.
I will say that if you have 1 wanted level, so if somebody goes to jail, it'll be for a month or 2.
Yeah, but you can't go back.
Okay.
They won't take him alive.
Mm-mm.
That probably won't be a problem.
So does that mean like they'd miss the next session?
Yeah, in all likelihood. But it sounds like you guys are leaning toward demonic influence anyway.
Okay. Let the demons come.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going to make a note to address that at the beginning of the next session. There we go. Cool. So you had 8 coin minus... I'm not going to type stuff. That ended in disaster last time. Okay. So we've done our entanglements. We've got downtime activities that we can take care of, but I actually want to wrap up the recording. We can take care of that off the air and summarize it next time. So let's go ahead and do outros. You know, say who you are, where you're from, where we can find you, that sort of thing. Let's start with Jeremy this time.
Yeah, everybody, I've been playing Benji. Again, somehow he has managed to eke literally through the situation and live to see another session. So we'll see how long that continues to happen. I have a YouTube channel called the Erasmus Expeditions. Go check me out. And I cannot wait to see how this is all going to eventually blow.
It's going to be pretty bonkers, I think. Next, we have Baron.
What's up, everybody? I'm Baron. I was playing Izel Valeris tonight, the Lurk. Definitely seen some stark contrast between Hunter and Lurk today, and why being able to hunt stuff is cool. As always, super grateful that you guys have allowed me to kick it around for as long as I have, and I don't even know what the hell to expect next episode. I'm stressed. Literally, I'm at like 8 out of 9 stress. I'm stressed.
All you got to do is indulge your vice, my friend.
All right, sounds like a winner to me.
Sounds so easy when I say it out loud, but then
I got to roll for it. It's totally different. But like I said, thanks for having me, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you bet. And last but not least, Derek.
I'm Derek. I'm small part of the Mythic Gazetteer. It's been a lot of fun to play this game. Go check out everyone else's YouTube page and comment and like on their stuff too.
Very good. And once again, I'm Eli, your game master. This has been Ring Down Below, and we will now draw to a close. In fact, and so our tale draws to a close for now, but remember to tune in next time for Ring Down Below, presented by KMGX. Until then, keep your eyes on the canals. We're on the prowl.